Man has to be careful about what size accoutrement he carries around with him, right? When you get into like the man bag category, it's like, I don't know if you could pull that off.
That is a note too, so it's big.
So what we're talking about is Ian's phone cover here. It's very purse-like. It's like a change purse.
Nah, you can put your cards and shit in there.
So it is a purse.
Well, nah.
In a way.
It's like a wallet phone.
Yeah, wallet's a good word. Isn't that funny? Like there's words you're allowed to use. Like you could walk around all day with a backpack and no one says anything. Like, well, Ian likes to just keep his shit in a backpack. Yeah. No problem with that. But if you have some sort of a satchel,
it's very suspect.
Very suspect.
You open yourself up for a lot of verbal attacks, you know what I'm saying?
And it's like the style of satchel's important too. Because if you got like a satchel that's like in any way stylish, then you can't just be wearing like Converse All-Stars and a t-shirt. You have to wear like hipster clothes. You have to have like rolled up cuffs.
Right.
And you have to have like a nice tie-up leather shoe. You know, like you have to go Gavin McGinnis.
Gavin McGinnis.
You know? You gotta figure out what you're gonna wear with it.
Yeah, you gotta look the part.
Yeah, so that's why I still take a lot of heat for the fanny pack, and I think it's funny because I wear that thing all the time. But yeah, I feel uncomfortable when I wear it sometimes. Yeah. Like quite honestly, I wear it and I realize people are looking at it and they notice it and they're mocking me.
Hey, I don't have the balls to wear a fanny pack. I gotta tell you that right now.
I wear it on stage.
You wear it on stage?
I wore it on stage a bunch of times.
Why? You're not gonna pull anything out of there?
Because I don't want to leave my wallet in the green room. Shady people working in the comedy club.
It's hilarious. I'd rather them steal my wallet and wear it on stage. That's how like much I'm into like looking like a man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, I can't do it. Now you just call this a purse. You may never see this again.
Because I called it a purse.
Yeah, I might throw the phone away with it and just get a new phone.
You have to have a cover though. I found that out, man. I tried to go natural with my last phone, and man, I dropped it a few times and it was toast.
Yeah,
it's shattered. Jamie's going natural.
Yeah.
You don't drop it?
No. I'm pretty careful with it.
God,
I'm gonna drop it here and there, but it's still good to go.
You know what? I don't think I dropped this one now that I have a case. That's what's fucked up.
That's the funny thing. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, like you don't have a case. You're like, better not drop it.
Yeah. Yeah, when you go, I've been raw.
Yeah.
You know, like no case, just raw, no condom on the phone. And,
I like it.
You gotta be careful with that shit.
Feels good that way,
though,
it
feels good
it?
that way. I have the natural phone in your hand.
Yeah.
Nothing on it. Yeah.
It also feels like you're a risk taker. I'm a wild motherfucker. I don't even have a case on my phone, bitch.
That's hilarious.
Right? Doesn't it feel kind of like that?
That's in modern times. That is a risk. That's 2016. It is a risk to not have a case on your fucking phone. That's crazy.
You're a rebel. This is how we're rebelling.
Yeah.
This is the softest time to be alive ever.
That's hilarious.
It's so easy to be alive. You know, we're trying to eradicate all the dangerous parts that are left. Like there's the dangerous parts are left, like particularly like in America, they're so highlighted now.
Right.
It's one of the reasons why I think like Chicago and Baltimore and Detroit, and when we find out like the murder statistics for all of these cities, one of the things that freaks us out is that for the most part, most of this country is as easygoing and soft as it's ever been ever. So when you see some crazy violence, like on a YouTube video or World Star Hip Hop or something like that, Live Leak, I watched some Live Leak shit the other day. I gotta stop doing that, man. I gotta stop.
It's traumatizing.
Yeah, man, they'll get you.
Yeah.
But you realize, like, there are still spots where it's dangerous as fuck. But for the most part, it's so soft right now.
It's so soft right now.
We're risk takers if we have no phone cover. That's us.
Yeah, that's the new tattoo.
Yeah.
Like having no phone cover.
Everybody's tattooed now, too.
Yeah.
That's weird. I mean, obviously I have them, but it's odd for me to see how many more people have tattoos today.
How long you had your tattoos? A while?
Well, I had one on my shoulder forever. I got one when I think I was like 23 or 4 or something like that.
That was rebellious back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I'm going crazy. It was something I drew, too. And my friend Tommy Jr. had gone to this guy already, Danny Williams in Connecticut. He was a really good artist, man. This guy was a really good artist. Big biker-looking dude. But
that's who you trusted with your tattoos back then.
He was a wicked artist. You know, he was like, it's like back then, tattoos as an art form was way more obscure. Like now I think people know like Kat Von D.
Right.
They recognize these like celebrity tattoo artists like Ed Hardy came out with the line of clothing. Like Ed Hardy was like a world famous tattoo guy like way back in the day. Like there's a whole style of tattoos that people associate with Ed Hardy. But there was only a few other ones. And now it's like they have all these magazines and TV shows and the guy that did me, Aaron Dellavedova, is fucking awesome. He's down in San Diego at Guru Tattoo, and it's he's like he's a good friend. Like I really love that guy.
Dope.
And it's like he's a cool guy to talk to, which is like I think important if you want to have someone draw on you for the rest of your life.
That's funny.
You know what I mean?
They have the hairdresser barbershop style.
Yeah.
Conversations when you go in there to get the tats.
Yeah. Well, you do. You get to
relationship,
learn about a guy. You'll get to have like these deep conversations. Like Aaron and I, we talked for like 45 hours on my right arm and like probably like 60 hours on my left arm. It's a lot of just talking.
That's a lot of talking.
Sometimes you don't really talk though, because sometimes he's just deep into it, and I'll just like watch I was watching. That's where I watched like most of Breaking Bad.
Oh,
most
for real?
Season 1 and season 2. I was watching.
Shit, that's funny as
Getting
shit.
tattooed.
That's like the perfect show to watch if you're getting a tattoo. To be honest.
Yeah.
That's good mood music. You know what I'm saying? Watching Breaking Bad and getting a tattoo.
It's almost like the pain of the tattoo accentuates the show.
Yeah,
because the show is so chaotic and fucked up.
Yeah.
It's almost like better while someone's drilling on your elbow with the tattoo needle.
Damn, you said elbow and needle. I felt that.
You feel it.
Yeah.
That's a rough spot. The inside of the elbow, right here, that's a really rough spot.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that the closer it gets to your chest, it's a really rough spot. Like you're like, whoa. Different spots have different levels of pain that you experience from. It's very strange. Like your shoulder,
Nothing.
You could draw on me all day on my shoulder. I fall asleep. Like I'm not kidding. It's weird. Like the shoulder just doesn't seem to hurt.
Yeah.
But you get down to like some area, the inside of the arm. Yeah, ha, ha. It's like a different feeling. I guess the nerves are closer. Like anywhere that's got more meat on it is like protected more from the I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
That's funny though. No, it's like you're finding out shit about your body.
Yeah.
While you're getting tattooed. It's like it's kind of like sometimes you're having sex with a girl and I always like when she's, I never felt that before. Like that nobody's ever touched that part or explored that part. And it's like you finding shit out.
Where are you digging, Ian Edwards?
Everywhere. Everywhere. Where am I not digging? Especially if you love a chick, you'll try to find some shit.
Of course.
Yeah.
When a girl says like that, a good percentage of me always goes, "Yeah, right."
Oh shit! Fuck Joe.
every time in my life a girl said something like that, I've always been like, okay, because it seems like something that girls think that guys want to hear, don't you think?
Yeah. It's a part of faking it.
Yeah. Well, it's a part of getting the guy to like you.
Yeah.
Like getting a girl to like you, guys will do all kinds of ridiculous, artificial shit, pretend to be a certain way, pretend to behave a certain way. But when it gets down to it, you get to know them. It takes a long time to chip away from that stuff. So when someone says something that's like cliche, ridiculous, or along those lines, you got to think like, oh, this person just running their game.
Yeah.
They're running their fall in love with me game.
They're falling in love with me. You got to challenge those women just so that they respect you and you keep it on that level,
Or don't date fakers.
Yeah.
That's hard though.
It's like
some of them are hot.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Checking tweets while the show's
No,
going
I was
on?
trying to retweet the
Can't
thing,
do
but I'm
that.
not getting any
Reception.
Yeah. That's the only thing I want to do is like retweet it. But my purse ain't allowing me to do that shit.
Yeah, you're a rebel because you have an Android phone too. You're a rebel in both ways.
Gangsta,
you don't give
son.
a fuck. Is that the note where you could draw on the screen?
Yeah.
Those are the shit.
Yeah, I love that shit.
I love it. That's
You have that?
No.
You
I
had
it.
one though.
I had
right?
one of those.
And then you switched it back out.
Yeah, now I have a Galaxy.
Oh,
and
okay.
I have an iPhone. I have two different phones.
Oh, that's good. So you got both.
Yeah, but to miss that note, that I just think that ability to draw on this. I was like, God, this is going to come into play someday.
Yeah.
I'm going to make some funny shit with this. Like have your friends. But it seems like those meme generators where you just go and get like a little thing and put the text into it. It seems like that's easier.
It's easier, but sometimes it's a pain in the ass sometimes to move it to where you want to move it to and all that shit. Like one of the reasons I like having this is like there was last year I was living in a friend's. I sold that place. Remember one last time, and I was living at a friend's house. I didn't have no printer, no setup where you could like if you get a contract for a show or just with anything, but so you could print it up yourself. With this, you just look at the thing on your phone. You could sign it. Wow. You could like read the contract and then sign it and just send it in via email back without printing anything out or anything.
That's incredible.
It was dope. Yeah,
that's a big thing to have in that case. But how weird is it that we're still signing things? Like how much longer is that going to go on? I mean, think about it. A unique movement with your hand, really? Like we all know that I used to replicate all the Kiss signatures. Every kid knows how to do that, right?
Yeah, sure. Michael Jordan's autograph. I'm sure like people know how to do that
sure.
Too.
Well, probably a bunch of people who have fake memorabilia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like with a guy like Michael Jordan, like a basketball signed by Michael Jordan is worth how much more than a regular basketball?
And a fake basketball not signed by Michael Jordan is worth still a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, how about it doesn't even have to be a real basketball. It could be a child's toy. If Michael Jordan signs it, it's worth a lot of money. So it only makes sense that a unique hand movement, it could be easily replicated. It's not like what he could do on the basketball court, he can do with his handwriting. You know?
Is that hilarious?
Like, nobody can fuck with his handwriting. You can't do it, dude. Nobody can. Who the fuck slams dunk from center court like he did? Nobody. You can't do it. I can't do it.
But the motherfucker writes just like us.
Exactly, right? He doesn't have some crazy writing move that nobody can replicate.
That's hilarious.
Dude, he just writes his name. So all you have to do is look at that thing and then recreate it. Like I was watching this documentary on art forgery. Fascinating shit.
Oh, shit.
Fascinating shit.
Which one?
I wish I could remember because I caught it on television and I caught it when it was already started, just flipping through the channels like, what is this? And I don't remember. But what I do remember was that there was an article that I had read as well about this one guy who was a forgery guy, but in a weird way. What he would do is he would make a fake version, a new piece of art, but from that artist's style. Okay. And this guy apparently was making fucking millions of dollars in Europe with this. Like people would go crazy.
Was it like after the war or during the war or something like that?
I wish I remembered that. Do you know what it is?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is it. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, or it was.
Yes, that's the guy.
Bill Trocchi, The Art of Forgery is what it is.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
His story is really cool how he does it. You can probably explain it, though.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's incredible. He would study the art of each guy or woman or whoever he was trying to replicate. And then he would create a new fake piece that they did that was so good that experts couldn't understand it. Yeah. Experts were like, this is a Picasso. Like, I know Picasso, I've seen Picasso, I've studied Picasso, this is a Picasso. That's how good he was. And I think what fucked him up was he got cocky and he used a color of paint that wasn't available back then. And it was almost like some had speculated that he did it like he wanted to see if he could get caught. Like, it's almost like he wanted to take credit for his work.
Yeah, like a serial killer or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. That was how it happened, right? Did he get caught with?
I'm pretty sure, because I was really confused as I was watching it, because he and his wife they were both arrested and both were serving prison sentences, but they were allowed out during the day to go work.
To draw.
And they had to be separated in some part. But yeah, I think he was working now selling art of his own because he was so good and people knew how good his forgeries were. Some people actually wanted those forgeries because they were so good. So now he's made a name of his own.
I can't wait till somebody forges his shit.
Well, he doesn't have a style. He's like a hack comedian.
He's a hack comedian.
You know what I mean? But obviously super talented. What a bittersweet thing, though, because you got to think that a guy that can be that talented, that can replicate that is art, right?
Right.
Because
that is art.
He's doing new pieces.
Right.
New pieces in their style. Which in a way is kind of more honorable a form of forgery. I mean, if you're going to go down the fucker food chain, like to recreate a piece of art is probably more honorable, or to create your own version of this person's art is probably more honorable than like if you had a painting and I'd made an exact duplicate of it.
When you first started the story, I was like, fuck rich people for being so much into art. They deserve to get screwed by this dude. Then when you said he's a hack, then I related to it on a comedy level, and I was like, fuck this guy. Because I feel the pain of following hacks who are ripping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or getting, accolades, and the audiences don't know that they're a hack.
Oh, that's the worst.
So the story, I can relate to it on different levels.
Isn't that a
comedy.
terrible feeling when you walk in a room and someone's killing with some like really bullshit material? Like for sure this is just chop material.
Yeah, it makes me more angry at the audience than the person, because I've already been angry at this person. I've already seen him before, known him before, most likely. But then it's like I have to try to do my shit in front of this audience that doesn't know that this is fake. This is a fake, y'all.
Yeah, I watched somebody steal one of Freddie Soto's bits the other day.
Oh, shit.
And I had to leave the room. Audience was laughing. I had to leave the room. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
I can't even see this.
Yeah.
Especially a guy like Freddie, who's dead, who was awesome. One of the best guys ever. Just such a sweetie.
I'm trying to get over stuff like that, though, and not let it affect me.
Yeah, you got to just get away from it. We were talking about that last night, Tony Hinchcliffe and I, because he was talking about people that get to a certain point in their career and then they wind up fucking things up. Tony's like super ambitious. So Tony's he's essentially making sure that none of this stuff ever happens to him. So he's like seeing things that people have fucked up. And then, dealing with people that hate on him because he's ambitious, because, he's always getting after it. That kid's always writing, always doing new stuff. And some people, they just get upset with him. Like, they think they feel like his ambition is threatening to their examination of themselves. And we were having a conversation about it last night, and I was like, don't dwell on it. Just, it's easier said than done, but you see all these people out there that are fucking up. Don't pay attention to them. Just there's plenty of people around like Burr, like you, like Joey, like Ari. There's plenty of people that are out there that are just killing it. Pay attention to them. This is the best time ever for this shit.
Like my new thing is, and I've done it in spurts. Like, just focus on the shit that I want, not the stuff that can stop me from getting what I want. But I find like if you focus on the stuff that you want or where you want to get to, and you have tunnel vision, then you'll be fine and you'll get there. Like, instead of creating all this, wasting time, taking the time away from your creativity, thinking about what people are thinking about you and all that stuff, and just focus on like, I need to make this joke work, I need to do this, I need to do that. Everything that gets you that step further,
Well, I think there's patterns of thought that are really easy to fall into. They just seem natural. And one of them is when there is something that's in your way and you're trying to figure out why it's in your way. You start concentrating on some of the aspects of it that are out of your control. Like, how come they don't like what I do, but they like what she does? Or how come, this is happening? How the fuck did this guy get this? Instead of try to figure out how to get so tuned into what you're doing that you don't concentrate on what they don't want. You just concentrate. God, how many times did I clear my fucking throat? I got to stop drinking this butter coffee. It fucks up podcasts. It does, right? I'm a little too much. But it's hard to say. I mean, it's easy to say. It's hard to do. It's hard to actually like get your mind into a place where you're concentrating on only what you're trying to do, especially when in the beginning of your career, when you're trying to get out there and get booked and nobody wants to book you. Some dude was bitching about that at the Comedy Store the other night. He was talking about how nobody's helping him out, and all these other people are doing well, but it's just, it seems like it's bullshit, and the system is like stacked against him. It's like, Jesus Christ, like
you're dead.
Well, it's so foolish because nobody knows who you are. First of all, if nobody knows who you are, there's no plotting against you. They don't know yet. And this idea that it's some big grand conspiracy just because
that's fear and ego.
Both of those together. But these patterns that people go down through, they seem real normal. It seems normal to concentrate on stupid shit. It's almost like it's a distraction from concentrating on the really important shit. It's so comforting. I'm trying not to clear my throat now.
Fuck it, just do it, man.
But it's so comforting to go down those stupid patterns.
Right.
That's what happens with people. That's how people get obsessed about things. They get obsessive. They start freaking out. It's like they're patterns.
You're creating your own distractions. Like, listen, man, nobody can work harder to stop you than you want to work hard enough to make it. So just work hard and you're good. Nobody's like taking that much time out of their life to stop you like that.
Yeah. Well, most of it is in your head.
Yeah, most of it's in our heads.
Most of it.
Yeah, especially comics. Well, I guess everybody, but like I've had a good as a comic. Yeah, I've been in my head.
We all have.
Yeah.
Everybody has. Frank Castillo and I were talking about this last night at the Comedy Store bar. We're talking about the difference between when you're learning how to do stand-up and you kind of like wonder if this is going to work. Like you have this idea. Like, oh, God, is this going to work? Can I get this to work? How do I get this to work? Which you still kind of do as you get like better at it or more experienced. But as you get older, it's how do I convey why I think this is funny?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, before I had like jokes.
Yeah.
Like, but now I have like concepts or premises that aren't funny. And it's like, how do I make this funny?
Yeah. What do I think is funny about this?
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we get started on this? We were talking about something. I was going to diverge, but I forgot. What did we go from? We went from... We're going to show the Tom Segura thing. We should probably just show that. That's why I'm so distracted. Let me just explain this. Let me get a little in depth. Tom Segura, our pal, is killing it. He's been on the road. He's selling out theaters. He's killing it all over the place. And one of the things that he has to do, unfortunately, is sometimes he has to do these morning shows. So if he's trying to sell tickets and let everybody know that he's in town, he does morning radio and he'll do these morning TV shows. And when you talk about like levels of lameness for like entertainment, like the morning shows are the most. It's like people who think milk is spicy. You know, they're just like, how can you drink a whole milk? I have to water my milk down and put sugar in it. It's like the last remnants of grandma TV. It is. They're the weirdest shows.
Yeah.
They don't bear any resemblance to anybody that I know that's that age. When I see them talking, these young people, young, handsome, good-looking people, and you go, well, who the fuck are they? Who talks like this?
Yeah, what planet are they from?
Where is this taking place? You guys are a time capsule to a 1950s that never really existed. It's a media depiction of the Norman Rockwell days.
Yeah, it's like they colorized some old black and white news footage.
Yeah.
You know?
They're brutal. They're brutal to do, point being. Morning radio shows are usually pretty fun. You know, most of those guys are just trying to have a good time. But so Tom goes on these morning TV shows, and now he has a character. And his character is a rapper. And he's got a chinchilla scarf on and a giant fat gold rope. And he's wearing his sunglasses with his Cincinnati hat on. And he plays his character now. And he just says a bunch of crazy shit. And it's, to him, so much more fun than actually like trying to have a... So, Tom, where'd you start comedy and when did you know that you were going to be a funny man? Instead of that, he does this.
Busy guy, man.
Yeah, so the announcement.
The big announcement I want to make is that last year, I came out as poly and bi, and now I'm proud to say that I'm non-binary.
What is that?
Oh, interesting.
Is there more to this? Because I'm confused.
Oh yeah, so most people fall within the male and female binary.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I'm non-binary, so I don't fall into either one. So I'm actually fluid binary, meaning that depending on the moment, I kind of go between different genders.
Interesting.
So today I'm astral gender right now, which is I'm a gender from outer space.
As two hosts who couldn't find a door yesterday to get into a place, we are totally lost.
Listen to the way they're talking.
We're trying to giggle through it.
it's a pretty big thing to come out as non-binary.
Yeah,
So
you're the first we've encountered.
really,
Yeah,
So that is a
totally.
big announcement.
it's a big
And
announcement.
thanks for
yeah.
announcing that on our show.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to share it with everybody. You
She
know?
actually-
So,
Listen to the way he
know,
talks.
just, if you don't mind
Guy's
referring
terrible,
to me as
like,
they.
unreal, like being
or
phony
they.
all the way. But the chick is at least trying to be a little bit real.
It's done.
They,
And they,
Tom.
they are going to be at the Comedy Zone tonight, so what can people expect from you
Oh
all?
God.
Well, you know, we're gonna do our thing. It's a whole new hour. It's different than mostly stories or completely normal the last 2 Netflix specials. So it's a whole new hour, and then you know, I'll be going from the stage, like I said, to spinning records at a local place for an after show. So.
Maybe doing some recruiting here in the area too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I might have time to swing by Tallahassee maybe on Friday, meet some players, and try to sign somebody else. But I'm excited.
You are
I'm
a busy
excited
guy.
across the board. Yeah.
A triple threat, but in different careers. I like
Yeah,
that.
I like
Not your
that.
typical
Just
Yeah, absolutely.
come on.
Well, you can catch Tom on stage all weekend at the Comedy Zone,
Shout out to Throatzilla.
and we're going to give away some tickets right now if you would like to.
Shout out to Throatzilla. Oh shit.
He said Throatzilla.
Do you don't know who Throatzilla is?
Nah.
Tom Segura is obsessed with Black Twitter, and and so is Jamie. So Jamie can clue you in on it better than anybody. But Throatzilla is apparently a prostitute who's famous for her
Hilarious.
oral skills, and she was involved
Throatzilla.
in some sort of a paid sexual experience with a football player who turned out to be a cheapskate. Didn't want to pay up, so she blew him up. And then everybody got to know who Throatzilla is. And
Hilarious.
Throatzilla has a fucking hilarious Instagram page. Well, we don't need to see what football player it is. Like, let people do some Googling. Leave the man alone. He liked getting his ass eaten. Nothing wrong with that.
shit.
She's got a popular Snapchat too, apparently.
But she's hilarious. She's hilarious. She's actually been a guest on Your Mom's House. You ever listen to Your Mom's House?
I've been on it, but
You been on it?
Yeah.
You haven't listened?
I haven't listened, no.
Well, you listened to the one that you were on because
Yeah.
you were in it. You were involved. You had to be listening, right? Mm-hmm. So one. Me too. I've listened to a couple of their clips, though, online. Their fucking shit is hilarious. They're so funny together.
Yeah, they've been pumping up their YouTube channel, so they got all their new podcasts, just like we've been doing, and some clips up there too. So
They're
check
killing
that
it.
out.
Tom is killing it on the road, too. He's killing it. It's so nice. It's so nice to see a guy who's that talented just get recognized, you know?
Yeah, he's doing dope, man. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. He's a funny fucking dude, man.
Yeah. Like, even just watching that, he's just having fun. Like,
Yeah.
you can make anything fun, man. Like, you don't want to get up in the morning and do that shit. That shit is tiring. And he's just, I'm going to figure out a way to do this shit.
Yeah. They're brutal. Those are the most brutal. It's also brutal because you know that you're going to have to, like, figure out a way to be awake
Right.
at 8 o'clock for the show. Like, you can't be sleepy. You know, so you only got like 2 or 3 hours sleep before you got up for this thing. 'Cause most of the time, most comics don't go to bed till like 1 or 2. You
Right.
get up at 6, do this radio thing, bleary-eyed, and most of the time it sucks.
And yeah, and then you got to kind of be phony too sometimes because you're like with a bunch of phony people. So it's like, this is a great way to not be phony and make fun of this phony situation.
Yeah, but he's figured it out. I never figured it out.
Right.
I would just go and do them.
Yeah,
Just play it
exactly. Me
straight.
too. Like that guy in the blue shirt, full of shit.
Yeah.
He's full of shit. At least the girl was like, I don't get it. And she nervously said it, but she said it.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing she reacted to, like the correct way, but still with a nice morning TV personality person way. But at least she
Yeah.
was like more honest. The guy was like, you know,
Hey,
hey.
well, that's good to know.
rolling with the thing that he doesn't even understand.
Well, what he's doing is what they do. It's that way of talking that, that there's a bunch of different fake ways of talking that people just slide right into. Like strip club DJ, that's one, right? Top
Yeah.
40 DJ, that's one.
That's hilarious.
Hey, coming up next, all right. There's a way of talking that is
Yeah.
exactly the same, and they all replicate it. Those are two like real big ones.
Yeah, news people voice.
News,
Newsman voice.
the news. Yeah. There's a way of talking. What makes people think, and there's like subtle variations that even like today's pros use. There's a style of communication that lets you know they mean business.
Right.
This is
Oh, yeah.
very serious. Very, very serious. Yeah, and so these morning guys, they have like Ryan Seacrest posters up all over their house. Like he's the god. He's the god of that style. Ryan Seacrest nailed it. He nailed it at life. All he did was name his talent. All he does is talk smooth and look great. Keeps his hair coiffed. Like literally. Guys made hundreds of millions of dollars by talking smooth and looking great. That's it. Just being that guy. All right. Way to go, Janet. All right.
Likes everything.
Next two callers. That's all you have to do. Just never get negative. Let it all roll off your back.
Yeah.
When you go home, you scream into a pillowcase. What is this? Who wants to dress like Ryan Seacrest? A lot of people. New York Magazine. What are you showing me here, buddy?
He's got a clothing line.
He's got a popular clothing line, and I
No,
thought
of
that
course
was
he
a
does.
funny quote.
Did you hear about what happened with Arsenio and Sinead O'Connor?
No.
Somebody told me on the way up. I saw like a photo of him like on a news feed, but she's accusing him of giving Prince Percocet.
What?
And Prince dying off an overdose.
Sinead O'Connor
Yeah.
is accusing Arsenio Hall of doing that? Why would she do that? Is that true?
I have
Wait a
no
minute. First
idea.
of all, just because you gave someone a fucking Percocet, like a lot of people take Percocets and there's nothing wrong with them. They're going to be okay.
But she called the feds and said, I
Oh
called the
my
feds
God.
and you better get your house in order because they're coming for you. Like she's basically blaming him for Prince's death.
That's so crazy. First of all, he had an addiction to pain pills.
Right.
Hall has denied the heinous accusations in the lawsuit. Despicable, fabricated lies. That's awful. It's awful in a whole bunch of ways. Like, it's awful that Prince was addicted to pills.
Right. I
And,
didn't expect that.
I guess he was addicted to pills because of his hips.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently his hips just fucked up from all those years of spinning around and throwing kicks and fucking doing splits.
Throwing kicks.
I mean, you know, when he would do those shows, man, he was super active.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was always just dropping down and doing the
Oh, yeah.
splits. Like, that's probably not the best way to treat your body. Like, a lot of that stuff is super impressive because it was, like, real explosive. You know, he'd spin around with his guitar and drop down and do the splits.
It's like WWE moves. Like, it's like those wrestlers and shit, they get hooked too.
When Dave Chappelle had that whole bit about Prince being a really good basketball player
Hilarious.
with Charlie Murphy, it makes sense. Like, of course he is. Like, look
Yeah.
how fast he is. Look how well he moves when he dances on stage.
Yeah.
But I guess that shit just wreaked havoc on his legs.
Yeah. That motherfucker was electric, man. Like, I was, like, after he died, I was watching some concert footage. And it's like, it makes you feel like you're there. He puts on a show, man.
Yeah, he was one of the greats,
Yeah, he
without a
half
doubt.
step.
One of
Yeah.
the all-time greats. I mean, when it comes to music, I mean, we were talking about this on a recent podcast about I Want to Be Your Lover. When that song came out, I was like, who is this guy? it just had this completely new sort of feel to it, where you were hoping, like, I hope this kid, like, I remember there's a bunch of artists that when they came out, like Terrence Trent D'Arby was one of them. He was one of them where he came out and his songs were so cool. And I was like, I hope this guy figures this out.
Right.
I hope this guy keeps going. Because some of these guys, they'll come out with some really cool songs and a really cool thing, and then it goes away.
Which is crazy. We was talking about Guns N' Roses last night because they were one of the groups that, all right, this is going to be around for a long time for sure. They're the next new Rolling Stones or whatever. And it's just like they just...
Yeah.
It's more of a shock that they didn't last than if they did,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And Terrence Trent D'Arby, like, yeah, he's one of those sure things back then. You're like, some people you heard, you're like, they're a one-hit wonder. You're like, no, this person is going to be
Talented.
around. Yeah,
Sinead O'Connor, too. She's one of them.
yeah.
That bitch was so fucking, and is so fucking talented that you go, well, where's her body of work? Why
Yeah.
doesn't she have 100 albums out? Why doesn't she have 1 million hits? She's so good when she's on. You know, like the early shit when she first came out, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, this
like
is
she's
different.
she's a storm, like an electric storm. Like, Jesus Christ, she was good.
She might be like sensitive or something happened to her.
Probably.
She got turned off from the business or something.
Well, do you remember when she tore up that picture of the Pope?
Right.
That was a big problem. I think she wasn't ready for that negativity that came with that opinion.
That was like 20 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, man. She was right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, she was right. Yeah.
If she did that shit today, people would support her and cheer for her. She's a very brave person in that regard.
Yeah, if she did it today, they'd be like, she's a hack.
Yeah.
People have been doing that. Then she did it too soon. It's too original. Too soon.
There was this kid a long time ago that had an MTV music video, and people were saying that this kid is the future of rock and roll. He was like 19 years old. When he had a song called "Beat So Lonely." Find who fucking sings that. But this dude was like a badass guitarist, and he was like 19 years old, and it was one of those things where they were hyping him up. Yeah, Charlie Sexton. So if we play this, it'll probably get us kicked off YouTube, right?
I can play it for the audio.
Play it for the audio. For people who, this guy was really young, and he was this good-looking Johnny, like a Johnny Depp who does a lot of speed. He was like this good-looking, young, talented guitarist. And what year does it say down there, Jimmy, if you scroll down?
85.
Damn.
Yeah, okay, so this is my senior year in high school. And this guy came out, and there was this crazy black and white music video. This is the days of MTV, you know? So he's walking down this black and white stream, and in between him walking with his cool-looking earrings and his fucking Fonzie leather jacket on, you see the producer sliding up the dials on the mixing board and all these neon signs. And, you know, it's so stylish and produced and so obviously contrived. But as a 17, I guess? Yeah, 17-year-old kid watching this, I remember thinking, whoa, like this guy is, he's not that much older than me. And he's like smoking cigarettes, and hanging out with these rockers. But it's not playing any of the song yet. It's just that. But it's like his singing is kind of interesting too. But they put so much effort into this. It was one of those things that was like, well, they're for sure going to force feed us this guy.
Like, present rock stars make videos like this now. Like retro shit.
Yeah.
Retro versions of this that aren't as good.
This is a pretty good song. People are getting mad at me right now. No, it's not, you fuck. I'm telling you, I really like this song, especially when it came out when I was 17. And I thought this fucking guy was going to be giant. He had all the right pieces. He didn't have tattoos back then because dudes didn't have tattoos. But if it was today, he would have tattoos all over his hands and shit. And he'd have some shit written on his neck. But he's got all the right bracelets. His hair looks perfect.
All the right places.
His hair looks perfect.
That's hilarious. I want him to listen to the show and call in or something. Where is he now?
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's like a giant country star. There's country stars that you don't even know about that have like fucking hundreds of millions of sales. Boy, I just saw when you show the image of me, I realized how high I am. I'm like, whoa, slow down, bitch.
Shit, I'm getting high. I'm not even bullshit.
You got high in this room. We hotbox Ian. Ian's got an adversity to the weed. Anybody who tells you can't get hotbox is a fucking liar too, by the way.
I can tell you that right now.
Somebody tried to tell me the other day that hotboxing isn't real. I was like, what are you talking about? It's 100% real.
You're breathing in weed in a room where there's weed. It's like smoking weed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as effective as taking a hit, but it's pretty close.
If you stay in there long enough and the room is like if there's a lot of weed going around and the room is small and it's intense and it's in the air, that's all you're going to breathe in.
That's all you're breathing in.
Yeah, it might be more than taking a few hits when you're out in the street with some friends.
Did I ever tell you about when I was a judge for the Cannabis Club? Cannabis Cup. Yeah, I judged the Cannabis Cup one year. And they would hand you know how like old people that have like hip injuries, they carry around a lot of pills. They'll have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like one of those little 7-tray things. This is what they gave you, and it was filled with weed. And they were handing out pipes and lighters and edibles, and it was so ridiculous. The idea that anybody got judged was so ridiculous.
Hilarious.
Because it was me and a bunch of other people who were judges, like people from the local cannabis community, and I think there were some rappers in there as well. But by the time you're on pot number 2, like who knows what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. How do you know if 3 is affecting you or 4 is affecting you or 5 or 1.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't have any idea.
You have to do that each one for a day. You do one, and then you come back the next day, do the other one, and that still might not be enough time.
I think you're 100% right. And then you also would have to deal with the fact that if you did it on Monday, Tuesday, if you did it every day like that, your body would get accustomed to getting high.
Yeah.
So you probably get less high as the week goes on. But some people say that it's like you get accustomed to different strains. That's Joey Diaz, though. Joey Diaz, listen, dog, I smoke different shit every day. I don't want these motherfuckers getting used to me. Like he
used to me.
he thinks you get used to certain kinds of weed and they don't affect you anymore.
So
you gotta try new shit. He might be onto something though.
I think he's right.
I think he's right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think he's right too. In some sort of a way, for sure. With like sativas versus indicas, is definitely a different feeling, right?
There's so many strains here you can get out of the store. You can try it. Just smoke one for a week, and then just get a different one. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You can even get cheaper weed instead of smoking all the top shelf stuff.
What's fucking me up now? Sativa or indica?
This is sativa.
Sativa.
Yeah. This is. I'll tell you what it's called. Are they labeled? These are all from L.A. Speedweed. L.A. Speedweed's the way to go, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is the most ridiculous thing in the world because they're trying to stop that. And they're trying to stop it in some sort of a zoning way. Like what they're trying to say is because he's delivering it, like where he's selling it becomes a place of business. So it has to be zoned in a certain way. Like this is the argument, which is ridiculous because how would fast food restaurants deliver? Like how would Domino's deliver? Because these places aren't zoned for being restaurants. Like if someone just shows up at your house with a pizza, like your house doesn't have to be zoned for being a restaurant for him to show up at your house with a pizza. But if someone shows up at your house selling weed, and you live next to a school, it becomes problematic. It's interesting. It's an interesting argument. It's going to go away because it's silly, but it's going to cost a lot of people some money. And probably Gino from LA Speedweed is going to cost him some money.
It feels like something the city makes up to try to make some money.
Yeah, probably. Well, it might be someone who's anti-weed who is at the top. Like I have some friends that are not pot smokers, that don't like pot, don't believe in pot, and they're older than me, and they'll still hang on to some of these silly ideas about pot, and they'll go, "Well, you're different." To me, I go, oh, I'm different. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like 90% of potheads are like me. Like, it's the ones who stand out are the ones that are the outliers. It's the ones with the dirty feet and the macrame clothes and playing fucking, what is that thing when you kick the ball with your foot? Hacky sack? Yeah.
It's funny. It's like when you belong to a group, there's always an annoying section of that group that makes you not want to belong to that group. That's with black people or gay people. There's certain type of gay people that other gay people like can't stand. Yeah, because it might give gay people a bad look, and they say same thing with weed. Yeah, and then somebody who's against that thing completely meets you. Like I've been, when I was a teenager, white people are like, you're different than other black guys. Which was an insult.
For sure. That's like in the social justice warrior handbook, how not to talk to black guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost as bad as saying nigga, but you're telling me I'd rather you call me nigga at that point. Because now you're telling me I'm not black enough. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And first of all, you don't know any other black people. We're working at Burger King. I'm the first one you met. So you're only listening. The only thing you know about black people is what you see on the news. So then you meet me and you don't feel threatened. Then you're like, you're not like other black guys. But I'm the only black person you know. You live in an all-white neighborhood. I'm working in an all-white neighborhood Burger King.
That's hilarious. It's so true. That's why one of the reasons why New York City is such a good place to live. Because everybody integrates. Right. Because New York City, everybody's on the subway, everybody's walking on the street, and everybody's around everybody. One of the weird things about LA in general is that it's a car culture. And you're in your little isolated box, and you drive to your little isolated community, and then you go back and forth from work to wherever you hang out, and those are your spots. And you don't interact with other people like face-to-face, person-to-person on a daily basis. That's the best thing about New York.
Yeah. Because that train, man, everybody's on that train.
Everybody's on the train.
All kinds of people. Because even if you're rich enough to, like, take a taxi, it's traffic up there. Yep. The train is still the fastest way to get somewhere.
It's the only way to go.
Yeah, it's mixed, man.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's super important too, because one of the things that I think everybody who I know who used to be poor, Ron White and I were talking about this the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you haven't made it, when you're broke, you always feel like it's never gonna happen.
Right.
You always feel like it's completely out of touch. Like I'm poor, I'm always gonna be poor. This fucking struggle's never gonna go away. But when you're around people who used to be poor too, but they figured out how to do it, you go, oh, they're just a fucking person.
Right.
You know, and when you see some dude and he's in some corner office in some giant ass building and he's a CEO of the company,
Right.
you can't imagine that at one point in that guy's life, he was fucked up.
Right,
At one point in his life, he was depressed and lost and failing in school and couldn't figure it out,
Right.
you know, and was wondering about his future. But almost everybody has lows.
Right.
Almost everybody has. Almost every successful person that I've ever met had some crazy adversity early on. They figured their way through that, and then they figured out how to become successful, partially even because of that. So when you're on like a train and everybody's all together, then I think it's one of the best sort of ways to keep that separation, that us and them separation,
Right.
with like the classes especially, because that's a real fucking mindset of rich people and a real mindset of poor people, that there's two different groups of us.
Right.
But it's so stupid. It's not. It's just a bunch of people, and they're on the same journey that you're on in a different direction, just maybe a little bit further down the road.
Right.
Or maybe they didn't stop as many times as you did. Maybe
Right.
they didn't get flat tires. Maybe they didn't, have as many potholes in the road.
Right.
But we're all just on this fucking same thing. We're all just people.
Right.
So when you look at some dude, and you're poor and you got holes in your sneakers, and some guy's got a Rolex on and he's wearing this expensive suit and he's got cufflinks and he's checking his newspaper and reading the Wall Street Journal, and you look at his expensive shoes, like, this motherfucker's got some money, man.
Right.
How the hell did he do that? And I'm here a loser. He just did it. He's just a person, just like you, man.
Right. You don't know. You never look at it as an origin story.
Yeah.
You just look straight at Batman doing his shit. Like,
Exactly.
you don't see what they had to go through to
It's a good point.
to learn all that shit.
It's a good way to put it.
And you wanna get there.
Yeah, you want to get there, but it seems like it's impossible.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting there, I tried to watch soccer last night, Ian Edwards.
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring that up. People tweeted me that you're watching soccer. I'm gonna invite you to a game on Sunday at the Galaxy.
This is Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Oh
Yeah,
shit,
it can't happen.
All right,
I can't do it.
But yeah, what happened? Why?
Well, I was at the store and we were hanging out in the Secret Comedians bar, and soccer was on, so we just started watching it.
Who was watching that shit? Who had that on?
Ron White was watching it. I was watching it. Some of the employees were watching it. Who else was in there with us? Tony was watching it at one point. But I started getting upset at these dudes getting slapped and going down like they got hit with a meteor. I didn't like that. I'm like, I just can't support this kind of nonsense.
You were watching a really good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were watching a really good game.
Yeah, it was amazing, like skill-wise.
Bayern Munich in the red, they're the best German team. And this is a Champions League game. So I don't even know how to explain it. Champions League is where the 4 best teams in each league in each country like play in a tournament to be the best club team in Europe. So Bayern is like the number 1 team in Germany. Atletico, they're like number 2, number 3. Right now, they're actually in the number 2 spot right now, but last year they finished maybe 2nd or 3rd. And they have less money, but their coach is an ex-Argentina player, and he figured out a system where they just hustle. They just out-hustle you. You get the ball, and there's 3 motherfuckers on you, and you're going to cough it up, and they're going to get it, and they'll score 1 or 2 goals a game, and that's enough. But, and Bayern is just so really skilled that they might be able to they beat most teams, but Atletico is just so disciplined that, they knock them out, and they're going to the Champions League final versus Real Madrid. So there's 2 Spanish teams in the Champions League final, and both of them are from the same city. So it's like the Lakers versus the Clippers for like the best, the championship of what are we in, like of North America?
When we do it in North America, we call it the World Championships.
We call it the what?
Yeah, the NBA is the World Championships.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like
just because it's all the best players in the world,
right.
technically.
Yeah.
No, I understand. But like when they do it in the World Cup, it actually is the world.
It is the world, yeah.
It is the world because
Right.
there's not really any competition coming over from Europe trying to play against the Lakers, right? It's just
Right.
it's
Like-
not really going to happen. They're not
like
going to
the-
have a team that they develop overseas that can compete with an LA.
Like basketball has this thing where I think they have like all the North American. They have a tournament where all the like Brazil and like all the. Are we in North America? Where are
this is
we?
North America,
All
yeah.
the North American teams.
Did you really ask that?
yeah. Listen, man.
You were born in another country.
I've just been hotboxed.
Oh.
Like I don't know what the
I
fuck is
forgot.
going. I've just been hotboxed. So yeah, like all the countries play around this area,
Right.
play against each other, and I guess America normally wins, but this is a big tournament, man.
Yeah, this is the actual whole world, and that's what I was thinking. Like, are there any sports where the United States competes with the whole world and does well?
In soccer,
No, in any other sport.
Yeah. Well, I was
What?
just going to say the difference in this, too, is what you're thinking, I guess, maybe World Cup is teams for countries.
Right.
This is teams for professional clubs. Like,
Right.
these
Yeah.
teams are owned. And that, like, so these teams wouldn't necessarily play the United States. They would play, like, the Columbus Crew or the
Yeah.
LA
Or the
Galaxy.
LA
but
Galaxy.
Okay.
They're not on
Yeah.
the same skill level, so it would be a really bad game.
Okay, so when someone says like Manchester United, that's a club.
that's
Yeah,
a club. That's
yeah.
like
The Yankees.
Okay.
yeah, that's like the Yankees in soccer in England. Yeah,
Okay. But when you would think of, so they would play against a bunch of other different.
They also there's
Britain
a Real
teams.
Madrid basketball team, and they wouldn't want to play against like any NBA team because they would get destroyed the same way
Right.
they would beat our soccer teams. But the United
right.
States plays Spain in like World Cup type competition, and we also have something like that where it's like CONCACAF, and it's like United States versus Mexico versus some of the smaller Latin American countries.
What I was getting at was, is there a sport where the United States is competitive in a world stage? Like a sport
Like
where
basketball.
Yeah, like basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
We're usually like
But
the
the-
best
Yeah,
at
but
that.
we don't. The world doesn't play basketball. The problem with us being competitive at basketball, it's like someone over here being a cricket champion. Like
No, they
nobody
play-
gives a fuck.
Like if you go to Greece or Turkey or Spain, they have their version of the NBA, right?
Right.
They have their version of the NBA, but those teams and those players are not as good as ours, and they come from all different countries. And then when it's time for you to play for your country, you're still not as good as America. And that's when in the Olympics they have a world championship for basketball for real, I think, and they have the Olympics, which is like the one that everybody pays attention to the most. That's where all the countries get together and play basketball.
But isn't it fascinating that there's a clear winner as far as like who's the best? Still, what is basketball really? It's moving your feet, which everybody knows how to do, throwing a ball, which most people know how to do, dribbling, and then learning how to get super awesome at all those skills, right? That doesn't seem like, it's not like something where someone has to teach you, some master strategist who's like the greatest in the world has to teach you. Like it's almost like a form of expression.
Right.
It's like, why are Americans so much better at it?
I think, I don't know, it's like in soccer, Brazil, like I've been trying to ask myself the same question. Why is Brazil so good at soccer?
They love it.
You know?
But it's
But
just,
a lot of countries around the world love it, but they have like 5 World Cup championships, or maybe 6.
Well,
Germany's good too.
Brazil has a great history of soccer, like with Pele, of course, but they also have a great history of like nationalism and competitive athletics. Like, think about how many Brazilian MMA champions there are. I mean, there's so many Brazilian. Roger Gracie just won ONE FC last night, so there's a new
shit.
Brazilian champion. Like, there's so many Brazilian champions. He choked out some dude in ONE FC, which is the Asia version of the UFC,
Right.
which is getting bigger and bigger. There's a bunch of like really big organizations overseas now that are starting to build up momentum. But if you look at like martial arts champions from Brazil, Jesus Christ, there's so many of them. So many in the UFC, so many former champions, so many elite high-level fighters. Like there's a card next weekend in Brazil, and it's all like the killers of the killer of like in Brazilian champions. Vitor Belfort versus Jacare, Anderson Silva's fighting Uriah Hall.
Damn.
Oh my God, it's incredible. There's so much super high level talent that came out of Brazil.
Is Uriah Brazilian?
Uriah Faber?
Yeah.
No, you mean Uriah Hall.
Oh, okay.
Uriah Hall's black. He's from Jamaica, I believe.
Oh, that big monster dude.
Dude.
Oh, yeah, the
He's
robot.
dark as coal and fucking lightning fast. He's one of my favorites. That dude he's such a nice guy too. That's the thing about him. Like he made some like really heartfelt statement once after one of his fights. About people getting along, and I was like, this guy is like legit. Like this is really him. He's such a nice guy.
Right.
And that's almost been one of the things that held him back. Like Dana White had criticized him of it. He said he's so talented, but he's almost too nice for fighting. I don't think that's true. I think he just needs more fights, but he's got a big one with Anderson Silva. It's a big like crossroads fight. It shows where Anderson's at, because if Anderson can get past Uriah, who's one of the best 185-pounders alive right now, Uriah is a lightning fast striker.
I'm picturing Uriah, and he feels bigger than Anderson Silva.
No, he's more muscular for sure. He's built way better. He's probably faster, which is crazy. But we're talking about Anderson Silva at 40 years old versus Anderson Silva at like 34. But Uriah is he's like got traditional martial arts skills at a super, super high level. Like he does a lot of stuff like spinning back kicks and wheel kicks and knocks guys out with them. And real high level guys. Like he hit Gegard Mousasi. There's Uriah. Yeah. He hit Gegard Mousasi with a spinning back kick to the face. And it was a fight that we were calling for Fight Companion. And my thoughts on him, I was like, I'm telling you, this guy can do things in these explosive movements. And I'm so used to seeing people move. I'm so used to seeing the way people throw kicks, the way people throw punches. When someone's movements stand out, like, ooh, Jesus Christ. Like they've got it honed down to a razor's edge with just lightning precision. It just really stands out, and that's Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall has these movements occasionally where he'll just drop a right hand on someone's chin, and you just go, whoa. Just like that guy was not moving. Like that. By the time that punch got to him, he had no idea that punch was coming. I mean, his ability to close the distance with a shot is so fucking scary. So it's an interesting fight in that regard. And I don't think it has. Does it have their age there? No. Why are they hiding their age? What are they, little girls? What kind of shit is that? Show your fucking age. Well, that's ridiculous. Why would they have all these different things?
Yeah, I was looking for height too.
Oh, okay. So this is one. This is the stats. They have the reach, and they have the weight, and then they have the height.
I was always amazed how Anderson Silva's body does not match his record.
Well, Anderson Silva, when he was in his prime, looked a little bit better than that. But his body is a really good body for fighting. Right. Because in fighting, like, say a guy like Uriah Hall might be able to punch 10 or 15% harder than Anderson. Like, who knows? I mean, he hits really fucking hard. Let's say he can. But if Anderson hits him, the 90% that Anderson can come up with is just as good. Right. Like, the clean shots are the most important thing. And it doesn't take, like, a giant bomb to knock you out. Right. A giant bomb can knock you out. But it doesn't take a giant bomb to knock you out. What it takes is a shot you don't see coming and a perfectly placed shot. And Anderson is the master at perfectly placed shots. Damn. He's the master. He's the ultimate sniper. Out of all the guys that have ever fought in the UFC, he impresses me the most with his ability to land these highlight reel shots on people.
Highlight reel.
With James Irvin, he caught James Irvin's kick and just caved his face in with a punch. The guy threw a kick, Anderson caught it, and boom! Damn. And you could see the dude had never been hit like that before. He goes down, and Anderson just uncorks a couple more on him and opens him up. When he fought Vitor, he front kicked Vitor in the face. It was like the perfect front kick knockout, and it was the first ever front kick knockout in the history of the UFC. Damn. Nobody had ever done it before, and he did it in a high level world championship fight against Vitor Belfort. It's crazy because it's the first kick you learn in martial arts. It's like the first kick. You learn how to do a front kick. And everybody goes, that shit doesn't work. You got to go with the roundhouse kicks. And Anderson lands it right on his face.
Yeah, Anderson's a free-ass dude. Oh, yeah. You think is he back?
He's 40. So whatever back is, it's not going to be the same back. But if you look at a guy like Bernard Hopkins, who's an incredibly skillful, technical boxer, is still at this day, like there's a video of him working out the other day. He was hitting mitts. He looks fucking great. He's 50 years old. He looks fucking great. Like Bernard Hopkins right now at 50 years old could get in the ring and school solid 50% of the professional light heavyweights in the world. School them.
It would look ugly, but he'd school you.
School them.
He'll hold the shit out of you.
Hold the shit out of you. Jab your fucking face off. You know, move in weird ways, step on your toes, upset your balance, mug you in the corner, hit you with like short, hard punches while he's clinching you.
Annoy you, get in your head, get you out of your game, frustrate you.
Or bomb you out like he did Felix Trinidad. That Felix Trinidad fight, he put on a show with Felix Trinidad. I was always a big Bernard Hopkins fan, so when he fought Trinidad and fucked him up, for me it was like, I knew it!
I was surprised. I thought Felix was the truth, you know?
Well, he was.
And he was for a moment, but...
I don't think he... I don't want to say... I don't think he respected Bernard. I don't think he knew how good Bernard really was. I think he was doing so well, and Trinidad was such a world beater and just such a tough dude. I think he thought he could get through anything. I think, he was one of those guys that, I'm going to get through everybody. He's been to war before. He's been tagged, come out and knock guys out. But Bernard was on another level that night.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody like Bernard. It's not traditional boxing. Like somebody who does that doesn't get as far as him. Right. Like I've never seen somebody and do it that much.
Well, he's a master. He's a real master. Yeah. Like if you watch his footwork in the ring, it's always measured. It's always under control. He always knows exactly what he's doing. And when he doesn't know exactly what he's doing, he resets. He's not winging anything. He's not taking any stupid chances. What was that? The dude he beat for the title at 49 years of age was this fucking young stud. This guy was like 32 years old, some Russian dude, bad motherfucker, and he dropped him. Bernard dropped him at 49 years of age. And people were like, God, and then he fought Kovalev. And that was the fight that showed there's a difference between the highest of the high level right now and where Bernard is right now with his life, being 49 years old. Because Kovalev was just too much for him. Right. And Bernard went into a shell and just fought real defensively and tried to survive, but Kovalev was opening up on him. Kovalev is fucking scary. That guy's the real deal. There's a lot of badass fucking Russians these days.
I know. Like, it must be tough in Russia, right?
It's got to be tough.
It's got to be tough in Russia. Like, they're getting all the boxes. Like, this is like the sport where, like, a lot of sports, a lot of poor people come out and they get to the top of it. But you could tell where the poorest people are based on who's the best boxers in the world.
It's true.
Like Russia must be rough right now.
That's a real good point. That's how it always worked in America, too. It's like that's why Jews were a lot of boxers in the early days of the early part of the 20th century were Jewish. Slappy Maxie Rosenblum. That was a dude. There's a bunch of them, man.
You could not have that as a boxing name right now.
You could be silly.
You'd be silly, but nobody would take you serious. Well, Slappy Maxie.
One of the top featherweight in the UFC, Andre Fili. His nickname is Andre Touchy Fili.
Oh boy.
He's a
weird ass name.
He's a fun dude. Though. He's a fun dude. Yeah.
You have to
be. He has fun with it. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. It's interesting how that works that way. And then it was the Italians. There was a lot of Italians like Rocky Marciano, Rocky Graziano. There's a lot of,
there's some Irish.
Yeah. A lot of Irish, a lot of immigrants. It's immigrants that are poor people that need to learn how to fight to survive.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Fight to survive,
That's one of the reasons why these Russians are so fucking tough, man. They're coming from a harder place. It's a harder world. And, they're just, like Kovalev is a straight up killer. You see it in his eyes when he's in the ring. He ain't scared of shit. He's just going to fuck you up,
Damn, son.
And then the Gennady Golovkin, he's another one. Everybody's scared of that fucking
dude. What weight class? I haven't watched boxing in
He's
a while.
160.
It used to be my thing, but...
He's a middleweight champ. He fucks everybody up.
Damn.
He's 100% undefeated, and he's knocked everyone out.
Jesus.
I think maybe he had one fight that won the distance, or maybe a couple fights that went the distance. But he's on some ridiculous knockout streak in a row. I should know that for sure. Pull that up. Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, just Triple G record.
I'm just impressed you can say his name so smoothly.
Well, he's got a second name that I can't. If there's a Triple G, it's Gennady something Golovkin. The middle one, I don't even try with that.
It's hilarious.
But he's a fucking assassin, man.
His name sounds like when you fall asleep on your keyboard.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and then you just see a bunch of letters.
Yeah, they're all KOs.
Yeah.
Okay, unanimous decision. There we go. And that's way back in 2008. He had a unanimous decision win. But he's got a couple unanimous decisions, 3 there that I see. So he's on a streak of like how many KOs in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's a lot.
21 or so.
21 KOs.
You know, it's funny about this chart, like to see the flags from the different countries that people he's knocked out.
Yeah,
Like,
it's funny, right?
That's a lot of, knocked out a lot of people from a lot of places.
He's so next level. He fought Dominic Wade in his last fight. Jesus Christ, man. He fucked that dude up. He's so next level. So dangerous, man. At one point in the fight, he dropped his hands and he was letting Wade punch him.
Oh, shit.
He was just moving his head as Wade was punching him, and then he uncorks bombs on him. He's a terrifying guy. And he looks like a little cutie pie. Like, you ever see what he looks like?
Nah.
Go to a picture of him. Look at him. He's a cutie.
Oh,
Come
shit,
on.
that's a baby.
He's a babyface assassin. He's like the
Oh,
real
shit.
babyface assassin. Like, that guy looks like a straight up cutie.
He's like
a handsome young man.
Like an innocent ass.
A handsome young man with fine manners.
Yeah.
He dresses well.
Raised well. Look, dressed almost a mime, just like a mime, kind of French.
Meanwhile, that dude is probably a direct descendant of the Mongols. That's probably
Oh,
what it
yeah.
is. Like, no bullshit. Russians, like Russia was occupied by the Mongols for 200 years. And a lot of these guys, like Ruslan Provodnikov, who's going to be on the podcast soon with Nick
right.
Kurson. Yeah, they're going to come on together. That should be fun. That fucking dude grew up in, like, Siberia. He was eating raw moose. He ate raw
shit.
meat until he was, like, 25 years old. He'd never
Jesus.
had cooked meat. His family ate raw moose.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. Provodnikov is a fucking animal.
Now, he looks like he ate raw moose.
Yeah, he did. But, I mean, this is a guy who is another one, probably a direct descendant of the Mongols.
Yeah, man.
There was so many fucking super warriors that came out of that DNA. And you look at a guy like Provodnikov, I mean, he just screams like ancient warrior DNA. I mean, look at him. Look at his face and the way he fights. You got to hit that dude with a fucking crowbar to hurt him. He engages in wars with these people.
Damn, I gotta get back into boxing.
That Lucas Matisse fight was insane. Provodnikov and Matisse just teed off on each other. And Matisse is a brutal knockout puncher. And when he was hitting Provodnikov, you were like, how is he absorbing these shots? He's absorbed shots that Matisse was able to put everybody else away with. Like, look at that shot.
Yeah.
Boom. Matisse, like, it's a weird, like, you look at the guy and you say, okay, obviously looks like he's in shape. He looks athletic, but he doesn't look like a big power puncher, right? Like, if you look at him, he's not built like Marvin Hagler or Mike Tyson or something like that. He's more smooth, and it just shows you that punching power is a really weird thing. And it's not saying that Matisse is in any way unfit. He's very fit, very strong, very good athlete. But his punching power is almost just like skeletal. It like comes from his frame in some sort of a strange way. And there's a bunch of guys that are like that. There's this kid in the UFC. His name is Mike McDonald. And he's like that. Like, go to Mike McDonald. This kid is a murderous puncher. But if you look at him, he looks like like a regular kid, like a regular like athlete.
Yeah, some people, you expect them, when you look at their body, you're like, this person probably can hit hard.
Look at this kid.
And they don't.
He's got a sweet face.
It's a goofy face.
See if you can get a picture of his whole body just standing there. You get a sense of, like, I mean, he's obviously a good athlete, but like right there, it's a good example. He's obviously good at, but his punching power is disturbing. It's disturbing.
Right.
Like he fucking cracks guys with shots, and you see the look on their face. They're like, what in the fuck? What is going on with this dude's hands? He just hits so fucking hard and with so much precision. He's nasty on the ground, too.
Damn.
He's a real threat, this kid, and he's super young. I think he's only like 23.
Jesus.
Yeah, he already fought for the title. He lost to Barao in a crazy fight, but a fight where he really got tested.
Right.
Really showed what he's capable of. But the body thing is very strange.
Yeah, you
what
can't
makes
judge.
a person, you never know.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, punching power is different than almost any other kind of athletic power. Like, you don't see it coming. Like if you see someone who has a big ass and fucking giant quads and they're on the starting block, you're like, I bet that fucking dude can run,
Right.
you know? But you see a guy like McDonald and you wouldn't necessarily go, oh, I bet that guy can fucking punch.
Right.
Whereas Uriah Hall, they're both murderous punchers, but Uriah Hall, you see it. You look, go, well, obviously that guy can punch. Look at him.
You'd be more surprised if he couldn't.
Yeah. And there are guys like that too,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Like this person should be able to, you know.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a 7-foot center. You know,
Right.
Like nobody, like there's these centers in the NBA. You're like, oh, he's 7 feet, and they sucked from the day they were drafted. But every team, year after year, will still put them on the team because he's 7 feet. Maybe this is the year, 12 years in, when he's gonna do the 7-foot shit, and they never do it. But they make all this money because they built like they should be able to do 7-foot shit, or people are built like they're supposed to be able to hit, and they just can't.
So do they get a guy like that and they say, well, we're gonna take him in and then we're gonna get our coaches on him and we're gonna show this guy how to reach his full potential, and then they just don't.
And then through the season they say, oh, I see why the other teams dropped him, and
they
we're
get
stuck
rid
with
of
him
him?
on the bench. No, you get stuck with him on the bench.
But
You
with
bring him in once in a while.
With a guy that big, is it just difficult to move their body right?
They say that, but like Shaq did it. His movement was amazing. Like almost small forward like.
Really?
Some of the shit that he used to do. And Akeem Olajuwon moved well.
Mm-hmm.
And David Robinson moved well. There was some like, I don't know. There's a lot of centers that could move. So when they say it's tough to move your body, I don't get it. It is rare. Like good centers are rare. So I guess maybe it is. But when you see the ones that do it, it makes you wonder. It makes you look down on the people that can't. Like if I'm 7 feet, I'm thinking I could do some stuff. I could be decent enough. But there's some guys that are 7 feet and they really don't do anything except be 7 feet.
Now, is it a benefit just having the big guy there because they can do things and block people and get in the way and make it difficult for the other team to use their offense?
Yeah, it's a mentality. It's like they always say you can't teach height.
Okay. That makes sense.
And then it was like the 80s and the 90s was like the center game. So everybody just felt more secure with a center, you know?
Right. So they would plan their strategy around the tall guy.
Yeah, the tall guy.
Yeah, because he can get the ball above people. He has more, like, especially the way that they're throwing the ball down at people instead of, like, up and down.
Right.
He could probably do some stuff as far as, like, get in the way.
Yeah.
And get his physical body to block people in a way.
But sometimes they're not even good enough to do that, and then they have to get rid of him. For real, like, because so they say, all right, let's get this guy. He'll do the least. And then they don't even do the least.
Do you think that's because they're lazy? Because it was always easy for them because they were always so big, and so like as through their career they always had a giant height advantage.
It's like being transgender. Like you're a 5'4" person born in a 7-foot person's body. You know what I'm saying? like you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be doing something else. You just got stuck with this basketball frame. Like some people just can't do it.
So some people, they got stuck with a basketball frame, but they don't have a basketball mind.
Or heart, yeah.
Or heart.
Yeah.
You have to like want to move your body in very
yeah.
difficult ways, right? Because I would have been like one of the things you notice about fighters in particular, like you ever seen that guy Chocolatito fight?
Nah.
So I believe he's flyweight. What weight is he? Champion. I watched him fight the other day. Awesome boxer, amazing counterfighter, but so light and so small. Like Mighty Mouse in the UFC is probably a better example. Because Mighty Mouse fights at 125 pounds, and he's the best in the world. Like, no one can fuck with him.
Yeah.
Like, not just the best in the world at 125. He's the best in the world, hands down. There's no argument anymore. After his last fight where he destroyed Henry Cejudo, everybody just lifts their hands up and go, he's the best. He's the best.
That's good.
But he's 125 pounds, and the way he moves, I always wonder, I'm like, could a 200-pound guy move like that? Could a 255-pound guy move like that? Is it even possible? Like, can we get... Like, when you look at the super athletes that are in the NFL, and I think we can all agree, the most explosive, best athletes are in the NFL, right? Agreed? Pretty close. I mean, I think there's probably some really high-level guys in MMA at this point, but I think that overall, the most explosive high-level athletes are in the NFL. If you can get one of those NFL top guys, could you teach him to move like Mighty Mouse? If you started with him at a young age, or is it a gravity thing? Is it that the 125-pound guy, he can just do stuff with his joints and his movement that the 260-pound guy just physically, his body can't keep up?
You know what the issue is? It's like, if you're little, you know you're little from your young person. So you live little, you move little,
Right.
and you act little. If you're big, then you know you're big, and there's certain things you just don't gravitate to doing because it doesn't fit your size, so you're big. So it's crazy. You almost have to hypnotize a big dude that you're little and make them like live little.
Move like a little person.
Move like a little person, like, and get used to it, and then it becomes natural. Like Mighty Mouse moves like I'm little. He fights like if he's fighting a bully in high school. Like, I can't let that guy grab me. I got to keep moving.
Right.
Like a big guy's like, let this motherfucker grab me. You know what I'm saying? I want you to grab me. So they fight big. It's like, it's like just a mentality.
That's an excellent way of putting it. That's an excellent. I think you're totally right.
Because we all like do things according to just our physical makeup, you know?
Sure.
You know?
But I wonder if you could get a guy at a young age. Like, do you know the story of Marv Marinovich and Todd Marinovich?
I know Todd Marinovich.
Todd Marinovich, who was a famous football player, and his dad, Marv, was a famous strength and conditioning coach and a football coach. So his dad took Todd from the time he was really little, had him eating only healthy food, no sugar, working out like crazy, put him through all these drills, and turned him into this like super athlete.
Right.
But he rebelled because it was just like too much pressure and work. He didn't want to do it. He was doing it for his dad. Then he wanted to quit.
And then he went drugs and unhealthy.
Yeah, drugs, unhealthy. He became an artist. Maybe he's healthy now, I think.
Hopefully.
But it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. Like, this guy grabbed his young son from the time he was a baby and had him doing these strength drills and coordination drills, like raised him with the idea of turning him into this. And the results were amazing.
Yeah.
So you wonder, like, if someone could take a guy like Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker is one of the
perfect example.
Yeah, one of the best examples because Herschel actually fought MMA.
Yeah.
Herschel, but he fought like a big man. He'd fuck dudes up, dude. He did it in his late 40s.
And he was legitimately a threat or good?
He was very good for the class that he was fighting in, but he was fairly recent to MMA.
Right.
But a lifelong martial artist. Like Herschel Walker, even back in the days when he was in the NFL, had some sort of a black belt in something.
Oh, shit.
Look at him, man. I think in that picture he was like 47.
Jesus Christ. He always looked young and good and in shape and shit.
I don't understand what's going on. I mean, that shit doesn't even make any sense because he looks like he's as big as he was when he was playing professional football.
There's two lion heads.
Two bear heads, yeah. I'll kill you with my bare hands, he said. He's on top of this dude, ground and pounded him. And on top of that, he trained at a world-class gym. He went to AKA.
Damn.
And he trained at American Kickboxing Association, which is that's Tyron Woodley, bro. Don't get racist on me. How dare you?
Just mixing up black men.
Yeah, you're mixing black people together here. How dare you, Jamie? How dare you, Google? It's Google. It's not Jamie, it's Google. Sorry.
Google's racist.
But Herschel Walker, when he was training, was training with Cain Velasquez when Cain was the champ. Or if Cain wasn't the champ, he was one of the best in the world. I'm pretty sure he was the champ, though. And he was training with Daniel Cormier, I believe, was there at the time. Luke Rockhold, Kyle Kingsbury. I mean, he's training with, like, John Fitch was there. He's training with, like, legit world-class mixed martial artists, legit guys. And he was just fucking doing it like a real pro athlete would do it. He wasn't doing it like, hey, I'm a celebrity, former football player. Right. I'm just going to I'm going to take a fight like a Jose Canseco might do. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you ever see some of Jose Canseco's like celebrity boxing matches and shit? It's like, come on. It's like he kind of barely did. Not Herschel. Herschel like went at it like a real professional martial artist.
Damn.
And Strikeforce had him fight a few times.
He did that Olympic bobsled stuff for a while too. After
that's right.
Yeah, he just stays active.
Yeah. But he's an unbelievable athlete.
Right.
Like he's a rare Bo Jackson type athlete, like an outlier, outlier amongst professional outliers.
Yeah.
So if you could take a Herschel Walker and train him, like get him to a guy like Matt Hume who trained Mighty Mouse and train him from the time he's a young man, like 15, 14 years old.
He could do it.
Fuck yeah, he could do it.
He could do it.
It's him back in the day.
Yeah.
Handsome bastard, rocking the strong gold chains.
Getting bitches.
Getting bitches, showing scars off. Doesn't give a fuck.
I heard something like I forgot how many push-ups he does a day, but he
Something insane.
yeah something insane, and he still does it.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you just keep doing it,
Yeah,
your body stays like that.
Yeah.
It just requires unbelievable discipline.
yeah, it does, man.
But he's
easy to
all-
skip days.
He's also real weird, man. Like he has what's called trauma-induced multiple personality disorder.
Oh
I
shit.
believe that's how he describes it. But trauma, I'm not sure they mean head trauma. I think it's more like childhood trauma.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure head trauma doesn't help.
Yeah.
You
On
know?
top of that,
Because for sure there was some head trauma. I
Right.
mean, he was one of the greatest football players of all time.
Right.
I mean, think about. If you made a list, and I'm not a football fan, but if I know you, and you never got arrested and you never raped anybody, you must be pretty fucking awesome.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if it wasn't some giant controversy where you're involved in like a Ray Rice type situation, a murder or something like that. If it wasn't that, and I hear about you,
he was so good that the Cowboys traded him for a completely new football team that won 3 Super Bowls. That's how good he was.
that's incredible.
That's incredible. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Like, it was crazy when they were going to trade Herschel Walker. It's like, you're going to trade Herschel Walker? But they got a brand new team and a set of young players that ended up being like their franchise. But that's how good he was. That they could get all those players. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always, to me, as someone who analyzes athletics, it's always so confusing and interesting when I see someone who's just so much better than everybody else.
Right.
Like, how the fuck is he so much better? Like, what is it?
Right. This is a soccer thing. I'm going to tell you the
Okay.
soccer thing. So you have the NBA, right?
Right.
And that's the NBA is the basketball league of America. In England, the top league, the soccer version of NBA is called the Premiership, right?
Premiership?
Premiership, yeah.
Okay.
So there's this team named Leicester. Now the Premiership works different than the NBA. The NBA, all the teams stay the same every year. In soccer, the bottom 3, there's 20 teams in the league, and the bottom 3 would go down to the league below at the end of the year. Like if you have the least amount of points, the 3 teams with the least amount go down, and there's a league below where the teams that finish first, second, and third come up. So that's important because Leicester is a team last year that almost got relegated to the league below. So they almost got relegated. It was like everybody's like, this team is going down to the lower division. So they won maybe 5 or 6 games in a row towards the end of the season and stayed up, right? But they're a low budget team. They keep the same players, and they had to fire their coach because his son did something, and they got this other guy named Claudio Ranieri, an old Italian coach that used to coach in England with one of the top teams, but he never won anything. He only came second. So then all year he's coaching Leicester, and they're winning, they're winning. But at the beginning of every soccer season, the lower teams always win a little. And then there's the championship, like stages of the season, like the second part of the season, the third, and like the final fourth where teams start slipping.
Right.
But Leicester doesn't slip. They start with, and all the players are players from like cast-off teams and players that no team ever wanted to buy. And then they get into like the last 7-8 games of the season. Everybody's like, they're going to start losing, and the team behind them, Spurs, is going to catch them. But these motherfuckers, like, they gel together in a style that I've never seen before. Like, they're very defensive, but they'll attack you really. If they have these 2 forwards, like if you kick the ball out to them, they're fast, and then they'll score, and then they'll just shut the whole shit down. Like, you ain't going nowhere. It don't matter who the fuck you are not going nowhere. And on Monday, this team, 5,000-1, won the Premiership.
Whoa.
5,000-1 won the fucking Premiership. It is fucking crazy.
All kinds of people had little bets that they won like 50,000 on $10 or 10 pounds or euro, whatever. But
It cost bookmakers $15 million. Whoa.
Because it's like the most impossible sports story.
Wow. That's incredible. I love hearing shit like that. But as you were talking, I started getting discouraged because I was like, I don't know about this soccer project. This soccer project seems like it's going to cost me a lot of paying attention.
Start at the top.
No, you know what you do? Just pick a team.
Well, I'm gonna
get you a good team.
I want you to be my mentor.
All right,
because I've sort of brought you into MMA, brought you to a bunch of fights.
Right.
I want you to be my mentor and get me into soccer.
All right.
Because it seems like if I'm gonna follow some shit, I should follow some shit the whole world follows.
Right.
Like everybody loves the NFL in the United States, and I'm sure it's awesome. But if I'm gonna follow something, I'm gonna try to follow soccer. I'm gonna give it a shot. Right now, Americans going crazy. What the fuck is Joe Rogan doing? All this goddamn bullshit. Black Lives Matter. All of a sudden, he's fucking following soccer. Soccer.
Don't worry, there's Black Lives Matter in soccer too. There's some of these countries are racist as shit.
I'm sure.
They monkey chants to the black players.
No, monkey chants.
Yeah, there's a lot of fascist.
What do they do when they broadcast that shit? Do they bring it up?
They'll bring it up and they'll like. The ref will stop the game.
Whoa.
Or sometimes the players will stop the game. They'll get those people out. Or they'll ban that team. And the next time they have to play like a real game. Like imagine the Lakers playing San Antonio Spurs in an empty stadium because there was racist chants the last time the game was played at the Lakers. So they just say you have a blackout game where none of the fans can come as punishment. They do shit like that.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Blackout game.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Well, then people are like, yeah, I made him black out the game.
Yeah.
I yelled out monkey shit. Hey, moving on.
Everybody doesn't learn.
No, there's a lot of people that just want to fucking flip over the board.
Yeah.
They don't want to actually play the game. They want to flip over the board.
Or get some type of attention from it, from liking it, yeah.
Well, it's like we were talking about before with people don't feel like we're all the same. They feel like those people over there playing that game, those are just people, man.
Yeah.
It's their dream to do this, and they figured out how to do it. Like, you can't be angry at them. You should be inspired.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with you.
Right.
You know, like, just don't be a fucking asshole. But people also get so attached to one team versus the other. That's another
that's another thing. Like,
giant problem.
I like sports because it brings people together, but then at that point, it also separates people too much.
Oh, yeah. There's riots regularly at games, right? I mean, if you looked at all the games that are played between teams all over the world.
No, they have respect now. They fight in the town.
Yeah.
Outside the stadium.
Outside,
they throw bottles and shit from the bars and all that shit, or in the town fountain.
They fight over teams.
Yeah,
like,
it's
stupid. So fucking dumb.
It's dumb, man.
It's hard to believe that that's like a common occurrence with football, with soccer, with baseball.
Right.
There's always like fights in the parking lots with the Lakers. I heard some terrible story about some guy who was wearing the wrong basketball team shirt, and he's with his son. And these guys at the Lakers games beat the fuck out of him, KO'd him, knocked him out. His head bounced off the concrete. He was in a coma for weeks. He was there with his kid.
That happened.
They just beat the fuck out of him because he had the wrong shirt on.
That happened to a dude at a Dodgers game like a while ago when the McCourts used to own the team.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about. Is that what I'm talking about? Probably.
Yeah, or a Raiders thing too.
And Raider fans might knock you out too.
Why are Raider fans cunts? Like, why is that a thing? Because everybody was worried about if the Raiders came to Los Angeles that we would have a bunch of cunts at the game. Like, that was a big issue.
It's just been their culture, and everybody just identified with it and accepted it and said, this is who we are.
Is it because the rappers started taking on the Raider hats and started wearing Raider hats in the 80s? Was that what brought it around?
Nah, they were like that from, I don't know, like, it's like there's some teams in Italy that the fans are just
assholes,
fascists, and then that's some of the culture. It's hard to tell, but the Raiders seem like they've gone through all the routes to have that type of fan base.
Right.
You know what I mean? From coming up in Oakland, so even when they moved to LA and rappers started just joining them, and then now they're back in Oakland. It's like, I don't know. It's just they had the right temperature for ignorance amongst some of their fans.
I think there's something going on with people too, where we want to be united by a common cause, even if that common cause is terrible. And I think that's one of the things that's going on with Trump. Like, when I see some of these people that are like Trump supporters, I'm like, are you really, or are you just in a cunt gang? Because it seems like a lot of them are in a cunt gang. Like, they're wearing sunglasses, they're being dicks, they're walking, they're honking at these people that have Bernie Sanders signs. Have you seen this? I forget what city it was in, where Bernie Sanders wound up winning, and Trump was. But what was the big one that he won recently? Was it Indiana? Indiana. So he's driving by, and these Mexican Americans are on one side of the road, and they're fucking screaming at this guy who's in a Donald Trump supporting truck, and they're screaming shit and hurling, insults back and forth at each other. And I'm watching this, I'm going, what are we seeing here? Like, are we seeing gangs form? Because it seems like they're not really talking about Trump's policies.
Right.
They're not talking about his credentials. They're not talking about his ability to lead and the way he carries himself. It's almost like he's their guy. Like they decide, this is my guy.
And they don't want to change their mind.
Yeah, this is the guy for douchebags. And then, it's discerning to people. It's concerning because it makes you think, like, there's so many of us, that when something can unite us, even if it can unite us in a bad way, like the fucking Heaven's Gate cult, where they all cut their dicks off and fucking wear purple sneakers on. A lot of them did. They got
For real?
They castrated themselves. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that part.
Yeah, it was part of what that guy wanted people to do, and he was gay, and he didn't like being gay, and he was trying to like free himself from his sexuality. But at least one or two of his other like big people in that group also castrated themselves.
They couldn't just do the thumb like the Yakuza does. What's wrong with them?
I think they do pinkies,
It's
right?
pinkies, yeah.
They do a joint at a time. Whenever you fuck up, it's a joint at a time. A chunk.
Do you remember that Trump painting I showed you a few weeks ago? That someone painted with like a small dick. The girl who painted it got attacked by some Trump supporters, and like they punched her in the face and yelled Trump 2016 and ran
Punched
off.
her in the face?
That's what she's claiming. I mean, I don't know if it was on tape or anything, but
Well, you don't. Oh my
Oh,
god.
shit.
Oh my god.
yeah, it happened here
It's
in
a
LA.
shiner.
They found her where she lived based off of some Facebook information, and
Oh my
found her when
God.
she came outside.
Jesus Christ.
That's what she's claiming, though, too. I mean, it could be, it might not be true, but I don't know. I don't want to say even it probably is, but
It's hard to tell, and it's unfortunate that you even have to say that. But she does have tattoos on her face. I mean, who knows? I would like to believe, I would be more happy if she made it up. But ultimately, you got to kind of have to believe someone like that. That's sad because that was a cool painting. They shouldn't be so angry. Why would they be so angry?
If Trump was cool, he'd buy that shit.
Yeah, look.
Like your Mormon joke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Did you see the recent thing that he has on his Twitter? I retweeted it yesterday. I was like,
He's
this
eating
taco bowl.
Yeah, I saw that. I love Mexicans.
I know Hispanics.
Hispanics, yeah.
He's out of his fucking mind. Like, this is madness.
He doesn't care.
He's flaunting it.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's reaching out and tuning into the frequency of those kind of guys.
Right.
Like and they're out there. The thing is, I'm not opposed to someone like him trying it out. Look at Happy Cinco de Mayo. Best taco bowls are made in Trump Tower Grill. I love Hispanics.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I love Hispanics.
And he's got that evil, old school, the man look.
And someone
on his
pointed
face.
out, if you click on the picture itself, that there's a photo of his ex-wife Marla Maples in a bikini in the lower corner of a magazine
shit.
he's eating his fucking lunch on. Like, I wonder if he just eats, like, he has the news clippings of his victims and he piles it on his desk, and that's how he eats. Why else would he be eating on top of a pile of papers? Those are trophies. Like, he's a trophy hunter. Instead of, it's probably all people he's burned in business deals and fucked over and
would be higher. It would be a
smashed
higher
in
stack.
competition. Well, it's like his favorite stories of people he's crushed. Crush your enemies, have them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. That's what he's doing. He's eating dinner on a pile of skulls. They're
hilarious.
just print
With his bent thumbs up.
with his fucking American lapel pin, American flag lapel pin. It's kind of hilarious. I'm so torn. Because as a person who thinks that the system that we have is so fucking absurd and it needs to change, this is one of the best ways to get it to change.
This is proof that you're right about that. you know?
Well, it just shows you, like, you can't have a popularity contest to run the government.
Right.
It should be more than that. It shouldn't be this easy. And it shouldn't be an electoral college, and delegates shouldn't be able to decide who they're going to vote for, despite what the state votes for. There shouldn't be super delegates. All this is craziness.
Right.
We have an antiquated, nonsensical system that was developed back when people wrote with feathers. Well, you have to really fucking think about that. And for whatever dumbass reason, we continue to use the same thing. And anytime anybody talks about reforming it or changing it or updating it or coming out with new models, everybody freaks the fuck out.
Right.
Like it's some sacred fucking scroll
Right.
that Jesus wrote. We found in a clay
We've
pot.
updated everything. Why
Yeah.
can't we update this?
It's stupid. stupid as fuck. And the only reason why it's in place at all, like this electoral college and representative government, is because you couldn't talk directly to the leaders.
Right.
You couldn't talk directly to the government. It was too hard. But we have all these new tools in place, and the idea that we're not using them, like we're not using the internet, we're not using social media, we're not using our instantaneous ability to communicate with each other to find out what we actually want as a collective group. The fact that that's, and also we should agree, there should be like parameters where things can't get passed. There should be like parameters where we all agree. Okay, we cannot set aside any rules or create any laws that intentionally victimize certain segments of the population. We all agree on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like we make a new constitution type thing. We all agree on that. Everyone agrees on that, right? So when anything comes up, whether it's about gay marriage or whether it's about fucking whatever it is, you look at that and you go, okay, is this a law that would victimize intentionally certain aspects of our population? And if so, we can't do it, especially if they're not doing anything to anybody else. We should have like rules like that. Like we could update and make a real simple new constitution that would be way better. And we'd keep most of this shit in the original. Most of the ideas of freedom of speech, but update it to represent what we're dealing with today. Because what free speech is today is very different than standing on a box and yelling into a courtyard without a microphone. Because that's what people were doing, writing something down and not being worried about being killed for it. We all agree on that kind of stuff. But we should figure out, like, what are these, how many of these laws are good? How many of these laws make any fucking sense? How many of these laws are we just have because they've been around forever and nobody examines them?
Yeah, you just have some really smart people making some really bad laws on purpose. Like when you start talking about laws that doesn't affect a certain segment, not making laws that affect a certain segment of the society, like the ones that we have now that exist that does hurt segments of society were done on purpose, but they're just done so slickly. Yeah, it's just tough to get. There's just some bad people in the wrong places right now.
Yeah, well, there's just too much money involved in making decisions.
Right.
That's the big issue. The big issue is there's all these gigantic groups of people with immense amounts of money, and they can gain more money by influence people's decision making that are in judgment or that are in positions of power. And that's our real problem. Our real problem is these giant groups of people, call them whatever you want, call them corporations, call them, whatever, call them the banks, call them whatever it is. They have the ability to influence the decision-making of the people that are in power. And whether it's through fear, intimidation, manipulation, or straight-up bribing, there's a system that's in place that's very difficult to buck. That's why I find it intriguing if Donald Trump gets in. I don't find it intriguing because I like what he's saying and that I like this crazy character that he's doing. What I find intriguing is it doesn't seem to fucking matter who the president is in any way other than socially. Like, socially, it seems to matter. Like, I think one of the best things about having Obama in office was that he was a guy who was pretty liberal on most things, as opposed to, like, the 8 years that we had to deal with, like, scary conservative Bush and Donald Rumsfeld and John Ashcroft. They were scary people. Like, John Ashcroft covered the breasts of a statue. Was it in the White House? No, not the White House. Was it at the Pentagon? No. What, I forget what the statue it was, but they put a drape over the breasts of a statue that had been exposed forever. Ashcroft was the guy who went after Tommy Chong, and because Tommy Chong's son was selling bongs, and so he went after Tommy Chong, saying that if you don't go to jail, I'm going to put your whole family in jail. So Tommy Chong had to wind up going. That was all Ashcroft. They like Operation Nice Dreams is what they were doing. It was a sting operation. Justice Department covers partially nude statues because of Ashcroft. He was a scary, scary guy.
And this is an example of the people, wrong people in the places where they shouldn't be because they're out of control.
Well, it also heightened our suspicions of conspiracy theories and hysteria in this country because we saw like really dangerous people that were running the show. Like a guy like him is fucking dangerous. But a guy like Rumsfeld who pushed aspartame, like that's how aspartame is legal. It all came out of Rumsfeld. Like he was one of those directly responsible for making aspartame illegal and avoiding all the information that pointed to the fact that it's probably like super fucking bad for you.
This is fucked up that we didn't do anything about it.
No.
We just like wrote it out.
Well, we had to. I mean,
Yeah.
we didn't know what we even could do then. It would be really interesting to see what would happen if the Bush administration was in office today with the current ability to communicate about things, because that's where it's really crazy. From 2000 to 2016 is a different world.
Right.
It's a different world. And towards the end of the Bush administration, it became more and more preposterous, where people were like, what in the fuck is going on? To the point where they went out stealing money. Remember when they went out and gas prices went up to like fucking $5 a gallon? And everybody's like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
It just felt like they went out stealing money. They just like, look, before Obama comes in office, we're just going to suck as much money out of this bitch as we can.
Right.
Let's just go hard. Just ridiculous.
My question is, what is money?
Good question.
What is money? And then the money that we lost during the recession, it wasn't burnt in a fire. It wasn't like that money went somewhere. So where the fuck is that money that they had to get more money to replace that money? Like somebody has that money and spending that money. So it's not like it went to a vacuum and it'll never come back. It's just so, they never teach you in school. So you don't know, you don't think about it. But where the fuck?
Well, it's voodoo. It's agreed upon voodoo.
Yeah.
It's agreed upon voodoo. I mean, that's really what it is. We have all the same amount of stuff.
Right.
We have the same amount of minerals. We have the same amount of raw materials. We have the same amount of people. We have the same amount of land. We have all the same stuff, but somehow there's no money.
Right.
Whereas 2 months ago, everybody was rolling in dough.
Right.
That's a sign of someone fucking you.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I don't know what happened. We lost all the goddamn money. It's crazy.
It's
well,
gone.
hey, y'all take care, and we're real sorry it worked out this way. We got to get going.
The recession was one of the craziest things. Like, they came on the news and said, we're broke. All the money's gone. And everybody just started acting broke.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like broke and laying off people. Like, hey, we're broke, y'all.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they said, things are getting better. Yeah, I can feel it getting better. Feel that? Feel like it's getting better.
I saw something that said that the 150,000 jobs were added to the economy, but unemployment stayed the same. The same rate, but they added 150,000 jobs. Like, what is the rate based on? And then someone else told me that the rate is not based on people who stop looking. The rate is only based on people who claim unemployment.
Unemployment, yeah.
Like, there's way more unemployment than that. It's just
Yeah,
people aren't
there
looking.
is, yeah.
Meanwhile, easiest time to live ever. Everybody bitching about shit. Like, it's just, you could take some dude from the Depression and put him in America today, and you'd be like, what the fuck are you complaining about? No soup lines? No one's starving yet? Look how big everybody is.
Yeah.
They would be like, everybody in the Depression days, they weighed like 110 pounds.
It's hilarious.
Dudes were tiny. They'd be like seeing all these giant people with McDonald's fucking falling out of their pockets. Be like, look at all the food these fucking people have.
All you got to do is wait by a garbage can?
Yeah. Poor people are fat today. You know how crazy that is? It's true, right?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, back then you were starving. You were terrified.
Yeah.
People like legitimately were worried about not having something to eat.
Right.
I read this book
funny,
about this guy named Danny McGurdy. Danny McGurdy is like a famous Depression era pool hustler who traveled across the country during like the darkest days of the Depression and would hustle from town to town and gamble with guys and make money, like barely get by, but was like alcoholic and just wrote a bunch of crazy stories about all his times. But there was times where he's begging people for food, like he was starving. He just showed up at someone's house and was begging him for food, and the guy comes out and gives him a bowl of sausages and shit. And just you realize like there were times in this country, and by the way, back then no one was telling him everything was going to be okay. There was no Oprah on TV. There was no positive thinking.
Yeah.
You know, there was no mind coaches, you know, on late night infomercials. I'm going to give you the tools to achieve your greatness. There was none of that. They were just almost animalistic, traveling around in boxcars. And this book was really intense, man, because this guy was talking like kind of with shame about how he had broken down a couple of times and was just asking people for food. You know, that's like, he goes, I didn't have any other options. I had to beg people for food. And you realize, like, yeah, that's a different time than today.
Right, because people are just out there doing that.
Well, you know,
don't have to.
There's way more charity today than ever before. But I think also we understand that a lot of the people that we're seeing that are out on street corners and, you know, begging, they have mental problems. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they did back then, too.
Right.
But I think back then there were probably more people who were, like, legitimately
broke.
Yeah. And didn't have the information Didn't
Right.
understand like where are all the jobs, what's the economy, what is it? You can't Google it. You like so if you were a 35-year-old man who was essentially illiterate and you were a laborer your whole life, and then all of a sudden the jobs dried up, you had no grasp of why or how to fix it or who was going to change it. So any politician who stood up and started yelling things about immigrants or about, I mean, that's essentially what happened to Hitler. Hitler rose to power because Germany was in a bad economic place. And this guy came along and said, these motherfuckers are ruining it for us. And everybody was like, see,
Just blame the group.
yeah, they all just jumped on.
Yeah.
He was so charismatic, too. That's another scary thing about a guy that's really charismatic that can unite people for a cause, even if it's a bad one.
You know what's crazy about, I went to what do they call it, like a opera? What's the thing when they have the conductor?
Yeah, it's an opera,
It
right?
was an opera.
Music,
and-
symphony?
Yeah, symphony. And
The thing when they have a conductor. Well, the opera's when they sing.
the
Do
opera's
they
when
sing?
it's- so that- yeah, I'm hotboxed.
Orchestra?
Yeah,
Oh,
orchestra.
hotboxed.
Yeah, I'm hotboxed. I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
Hotboxing's real.
Hotboxing is real, y'all.
Just a lot of people don't believe.
And I was watching the conductor, and there's a lot of Jewish people there, and you know the conductor's doing this shit, and if you turn off the music, it looks like you're watching Hitler.
Really?
Yeah, because the conductor has the same motions as Hitler, you know, at an opera, like the way he's directing the band.
Someone should make a split screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hitler was real animated, right?
Yeah, it's really animated and moving his arms like that.
Isn't it interesting when you stop and think about that, is that we don't like that from a president. We don't like it. And it's one of the things that sank Howard Dean. Said Howard Dean got caught screaming. Remember that? Mm-hmm. We're going to the
And it was
White
over.
House. Ah! Yeah.
And it was over.
It was over. It was
It's like
over
a
for
bad
him.
thing.
Yeah, we don't want anyone yelling. We don't want anyone who's when you see Hitler in those speeches,
Yeah.
that fucking dynamic way of talking, that scares the shit out of everybody today.
That was good for back then. You could reach people back then because he's like expressing the anger that everybody was feeling.
Well, in a way, that's where people have a legitimate beef with how Trump is behaving. Because although it might be effective in getting people to pay attention to him, it's very dangerous in the doors it opens up as far as like getting people to unite. Like the shit he said, and I was on the phone with the president of Mexico. And he said, who you think is going to pay for that wall? And I said, you're going to pay for it. We're not going to pay for it. Oh, yes, you are. And the fence just got 10 feet taller. And the whole audience cheers. Like, that's like I'm paraphrasing.
Stupid
I fucked up his
people.
speech. But the idea that he would, like yell that out, the fence just got taller. So you're going to make a fence taller than it needs to be.
Right.
So that you spite this person. Like, is this a normal behavior pattern for a leader of the greatest army the world has ever known?
Right.
That seems crazy.
Plus, especially in a world where Mexicans who smuggle stuff across the border build tunnels,
Yeah.
including they smuggle people through under tunnels. So good luck building your wall.
Yeah.
Your wall will never affect anything.
Yeah. What they don't go over.
They don't go over. they have all these secret tunnels, like every documentary or even Sicario. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just all tunnels.
Yeah.
And your
Apparently that's real too.
yeah. And your president is like talking about building a wall. He sounds dumb as shit. Your president to be.
How are you going to find all those tunnels?
Yeah.
Do you know how much square miles you're dealing with and how deep they go in? Especially when you look at like the guys who got out El Chapo, they went a mile in.
Yeah.
A mile
Yeah.
underground for a mile.
Everything is underground. Everything is underground. Like while the construction noise that you're making to build a wall helps them to dig tunnels.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're smothering the sound.
It's so
Like, thanks.
stupid. They're like the best tunnel builders ever.
Yeah.
If you really think
The
about
best
it.
tunnel builders in the game.
Who's built more secret tunnels than Mexican drug dealers? Fucking nobody, man.
Nobody.
Is this El Chapo's tunnel?
I was looking at that, but I just typed in just generic tunnel for. There's a lot of them.
Drug tunnels?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of them, man. They just keep digging them. But it's so fascinating that there's this border. We have this line. And if you could dig a hole and pop out on the other side, you could sell drugs.
pop out on the other side?
I mean,
it's hilarious.
But it's so weird. Like, what a weird fucking thing that we've done. We've made lines on the ground of the earth
Yeah,
that you
to
can't
separate
cross.
shit, yeah.
And There's no difference between the people on either side other than the fact that they speak different languages. But they're just people, and there's a lot of each people on the other side. My fucking parents live in Mexico, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think you did tell me they
a
moved
lot
there.
of Mexicans live in America.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of my friends are from Mexico. I know a lot of people from Mexico. A lot. Like, I probably know 20 or 30 people who were born in Mexico.
Oh, word.
So we integrated, right? Obviously, there's no difference between us other than
Right.
culture and language, right? But we still have this crazy line. Like, you can't come over and you guys are fucked. Listen. You were born into a worse system than us. We can't let you over here.
Right.
I know you want to get better, but fuck off.
Fuck you getting
No,
better.
if you get better over on this side, if you're born in Phoenix, oh, you missed it by a mile. See, if you landed in Phoenix, if you came out of your mother's pussy in Phoenix, you're gold. Dude, then you get fucking Medicare and all that good shit. You're in the Obamacare. But
It's
if you're
hilarious.
born a mile the other way, Fucksville.
Yeah.
What? That's so crazy. That doesn't make, like, logically, I understand there's a limited amount of resources. I understand there's got to be some pragmatic decisions. It's very unfortunate, but what we really have to do is help Mexico get back on their feet.
Exactly.
But really, what it should be is there should be no Mexico. There should be no United States. There
Right.
should be no Canada. There should be the planet Earth.
Right.
That's really what it should be.
Right.
Like, these ideas are fucking stupid. They're like soccer clubs.
whoa,
You know?
whoa.
We're like little soccer
Well,
clubs.
those things make sense.
They make more sense.
But I'm 1,000% with you. It's like there's enough resources in the world.
Yeah.
If everybody shares them, right, for everything to be fine.
Well, both you and I are a direct result of immigration.
Right.
My parents were the first generation. They came from, or they were born in America, but their parents, my grandparents, is that how it works? I'm third generation, right? Because my parents were second generation, because my grandparents were first generation Americans when they moved to America. They weren't born in America. How's that work? No, so my parents
first one
were
born here is the first
generation.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm second generation. So I'm second generation. So just 2 generations ago, you know, all of my family
Less
came
than
from
100
Italy and
years.
Ireland. All of them.
Right.
Everyone. My grandfather on my father's side came from Ireland. My father or my grandmother on my father's side came from Italy. My grandmother and my grandfather on my mother's side came from Italy. Everybody came from another country, all during the same time period.
Right.
So they were all like immigrants. They came over here. And this is why in the United States is so interesting, because there's so many different kinds of people here.
Right.
But there's just too many of us, and it's too awesome. This experiment was too badass.
It's hilarious.
In Mexico, I don't know what happened in Mexico. I don't know what went wrong.
They got cut off.
Is that what it is? I don't know.
People don't want to share, man. People just want mine,
Yeah.
all mine.
I wonder how much of what Mexico is right now is a direct result of the Spanish invasions. Like, I wonder when something happens, like during like the Aztec days, and there's some crazy takeover, and the Spanish language gets introduced to Central America and even North America. I mean, most of California, what we call California, used to be Mexico. So I wonder, like, what impact that had, because when you find out the atrocities that were committed with the Aztecs and the invaders and the introduction of horsebacks, I mean, people riding horseback, that was all during Cortez, right? And the people before him was all the Europeans that had brought over horses. Just think about all that chaos that happened there. They changed the language of the country. I mean, with
That's a lot.
Mexico,
That's big. That's
it's
major.
insane. Mexico was essentially Native Americans.
Right.
That's why, like, the Mayans, they really resemble like a lot of Native Americans, what we think of as Native Americans. And when you look at, there's like a bunch of different styles of Mexican, like their appearance.
Right.
You've got like your Canelo Alvarez. You've got like he's an outlier. He's a rare one. But you've got like Oscar de la Hoya, who's
Right.
that like handsome Spaniard version of Mexico, right?
Right.
And then you got like real brown looking dudes that look like Native Americans
Yeah.
that are also Mexican, that are like really dark. And you go, well, that guy looks like American Indian, what we consider a Native American, because there's like, that's what it is. It's, they were introduced, like the Spanish language and all these different people from Europe interbred with all the people that are here, and they created what is Mexico.
That's an
It's
hilarious
amazing.
picture, because it's like, who drew that? Like,
Yeah.
they didn't even look like that. Like, those are hot Instagram chicks drawn. Like, who drew
Well, I
that
think
version of that?
Some of them are supposed to be men.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they're just covering their dicks. Some of them are supposed to be men. See, that one's got his panties
So they had
on.
transgender. What's going on in this photo?
Well, I
this picture?
think these people, like Native Americans, used to keep their hair long. I mean, that's what it's depicting.
okay.
You know, when you think of Native Americans and you think of like cowboys versus Indians, they all have long hair, right?
Right.
Well, I think that that's what these people were encountering back then. And, I mean, it was a fucking genocide, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it was essentially just a slaughter fest. They killed so many fucking people. They stole gold. They came over on horseback. They were considered gods. Nobody knew what it was to ride a horse. They
Right.
never. Imagine a guy comes over for the first time. They land in a boat. They get off the boat and they have horses and swords and they start fucking chopping everybody up.
Do you think that was? They probably had horses, right? And had seen horses, or maybe
No, they didn't. They
Did
did not
America
have
did-
horses.
America didn't have
Horses were introduced.
Okay.
Horses were introduced to North American by the European. There was by the Europeans. There was horses in North America millions of years ago, but they went extinct. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive of this. That there was a type of horse that lived like in the Pleistocene or something like that, and they went extinct. But find that out. That's an interesting. When were horses first introduced to North America? But horses being wild, like wild horses, is a relatively recent phenomenon, like over the last few hundred years in North
right.
America.
came with Columbus in 1493.
There you go. His second voyage to America, Spanish horses representing Caballos were brought back to North America, first in the Virgin Islands, and in 1519 they were reintroduced to on the continent. In modern-day Mexico, from where they radiated through the American Great Plains. Yeah, see, man.
That's it. I feel bad for the horses just being on a boat that long.
Yeah, no shit, right? I wonder how many of them survived.
Yeah, it's a long ass trip.
I wonder how they did that, because that was months and months at sea.
Yeah.
You had to have the right amount of food, people getting scurvy and shit.
Yeah.
I bet it's probably easier to bring hay than it is to bring anything.
Shit.
You know, when you think about it. Hay, you can stack it up nice and dense.
Yeah.
But horses eat a lot of fucking hay.
Yeah, and like you have to clean up after them, and they're on a boat
Shit all over the
restricted.
place.
Like that makes the boat trip even worse than I imagined it in the first place.
Yeah,
With
because
horses on board.
they're going to get off the boat and they haven't run or walked
Yeah,
at all
yeah.
in months. Their legs are going to be all fucked up.
Yeah.
I was just thinking. I was looking for not a picture, but a representation of it, because they're in Columbus, where I'm from. They have a replica of the Santa Maria, which is one of those boats. It's not very big at all.
Yeah, they were.
Maybe
Oh, they have a
20 or
scale?
30 people could like comfortably be on it for a long period of time. So I don't know where the hell you would put animals to.
Where is it?
Just on the river,
Whoa.
like right in downtown Columbus.
How big is it? Like, if you had to guess.
Pretty big.
How many feet long?
50, 60.
That's it?
I'm trying to guess in my head.
That's
I don't
20
know.
yards.
Yeah,
That's
no,
it?
It's not that big.
That's
I'll pull up a picture of it.
That's insane.
I've
That's
seen it.
20 yards. That's crazy. That's like what you shoot when you're practicing with a bow to tune it in.
That's crazy.
Before you start backing up.
Like those little things change the world so much. Like at the scale of those things to how much they change the world, it's fucking crazy. That's nothing.
That's nothing.
How big do you think that is?
That's nothing. That's small as fuck, dude. That's so interesting, Ian. The way you just explained that. That's like a nuclear bomb.
Three of those.
Fucking A, man. Boy, you just nailed it. You just nailed it. Those things changed the world.
3 of those fucking things.
Changed everything. Those
Everything.
3 were like the seed that planted North America.
Yeah.
They came over here and explosion. And it became the Empire State Building and the fucking Seattle Tower. What's that tower?
Needle, Space Needle.
Yeah, Space Needle.
Brought lots of murder.
Oh,
Diseases.
Lots of murder. Lots of diseases.
Genocide, rape,
Yeah, all sorts of groovy shit. It's crazy. It's crazy when you think
and
that.
iPhones.
Well, eventually.
Eventually turns into iPhones.
Yeah. I wonder if iPhones would have existed if we just stayed in Europe. Probably not. See, that's one of the things that I think is really important about like having an asshole as a president for a brief respite where we have a chance to rethink this whole thing is I think we have to get outraged before things change, and we have to realize that the system is just fucking retarded. And maybe he does too. Maybe look, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? You're talking about a guy who's obviously incredibly wealthy and obviously incredibly successful.
Right.
Maybe he is sick of it all himself.
Right.
Maybe he is one of the guys who's actually contributed. I mean, look, that fucking guy paid Hillary to come to his wedding.
Yes.
Okay? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's all it took, and she showed up. I mean, this is a guy that's been deep in the system, handed out money to these motherfuckers. And then finally he went, fuck you. He went, fuck you. I'm going to run this thing.
Right.
And they're like, there's no way. There's no way, Donald Trump. We've looked at the numbers. Impossible. Everybody else has dropped out. They've all given up. I mean, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are neck and neck, right? Except for in delegates, where she is quite a bit above him.
Right.
But she still doesn't have enough to win. Like, it's close enough to, it's weird. It's like weirdly close. Where you have to look at it and people, Bernie doesn't stand a chance. Mathematically, he's already eliminated. But then people say, well, what if Hillary gets indicted for one of the 2 criminal investigations she's currently involved with?
So he just sticks around and
what
waits.
What if people find out about this fucking email thing, that it's even worse than we thought? What if people find out this? What if they find out that? What if there's some dirt? What if there's some this? It's fucking exhausting. It's exhausting. But meanwhile, this fucking Trump guy is sitting pretty, just waiting for whoever gets most beat up by this fucking campaign on the Democratic side. They're beating the shit out of each other. So they're going to come through it. Whoever's going to come through is going to be all fucked up. It's like having a MMA tournament.
Yeah.
One guy wins by a quick knockout in the first round. The other guy goes through a 3-round war. Trump just ran through someone Anderson Silva style. And so now, like Hillary and fucking Bernie Sanders are like Mickey Ward and Arturo Gotti, just beating the shit out of each other. And we have to wait to see who emerges. What a strange time.
It's crazy, man. I'm like you said it. And I've been thinking it. You said it last week. I think when we was at the show about you're more afraid of Cruz than
he scares
Trump.
the shit out of me.
And I'm glad he's out.
Yeah, I'm glad he's out too.
He would have been the worst choice. And Trump, I have a feeling if he could fool people and do this just to win, that he might actually just be doing it just to win.
That's what we
and
hope.
Become a different person.
That's our hope, right?
That's our hope. But if he did become a different person, I wouldn't even be surprised because it's kind of almost typical him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't have any interaction with him, but I do know that Jeff Ross worked with him on the roast, and he said he was very nice and very reasonable. And one of the things that Jeff Ross said is, hey, when the camera turns to you and you're not laughing, it kind of looks bad. Like, you should just enjoy it. Like, don't be upset that these guys are making fun of you. Just laugh along. It'll be great for you.
Right.
And he said Trump thought about it. He goes, you know what? You're right. Like, he's not an asshole all the time. Like, it's a character that he's playing.
It is definitely a character. It's like
100%.
a wrestling character. WWE style. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a WWE character. I don't know him. You know, I don't buy any of this. I don't buy Ryan Seacrest. I don't know that guy. I don't know Donald Trump. I mean, I would like to get high with Ryan Seacrest and find out what's really going on in there. You know, I don't know.
You should tell him to come on.
What you see, look at it. What's in his hand? A cell phone?
He was on WWE.
Oh, he's going to shave his head.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
A shaver?
Yeah.
Look at Vince McMahon. It's hilarious.
as if somebody's going to be like.
They shaved Vince McMahon's head?
Like,
That's
Vince
hilarious.
McMahon's face was more fearful than somebody about to get beheaded by ISIS. Like,
Is that Bobby Lashley? That's Bobby Lashley, right? Bobby Lashley is fighting MMA now. He has to fight in like these weird Indian casinos so they don't test him.
Oh shit, that's hilarious.
So there's a rumor going around, Joe. I saw something the other day that Floyd Mayweather's team has been trademarking like Floyd 50 or something like that, saying that like he might be coming out of retirement.
Right, I
And
heard
then
about this.
This rumor hit today that his potential opponent might be Conor McGregor
Oh my God.
in a boxing match at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas.
Oh my God. I think Conor McGregor is a very good MMA fighter, and I think if Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight in MMA, Conor McGregor will fuck him up. He will fuck him up. Floyd will get the shit kicked out of him. He will kick his fucking body senseless. He will kick his legs. Floyd will be debilitated inside of one round, 100%. And if Conor decides to take him to the ground, I guarantee you Floyd Mayweather can. And Conor's no world-class wrestler. He's no NCAA champion. He's no Olympic gold medalist. Guarantee you Floyd Mayweather cannot stop him from taking him to the ground.
Right.
And if Conor gets him to the ground, he's going to mount him and cave his fucking face in, or choke him, or break his arm, or do whatever he wants to do. But in a boxing match, I can't imagine
highlighted
a
that.
world where Floyd Mayweather doesn't fuck him up. In a boxing match, I think Floyd Mayweather is arguably the greatest boxer of all time. If you look at his accomplishments, who he's been able to beat, how he shuts everyone's offense down, he's a more boring version of what a lot of Bernard Hopkins does, and he does it in a more slick, skillful way with rapid reflexes, and he relies on speed and movement and just a deep, deep, deep understanding of boxing. He's just so much better. And if people don't know, if you think you're really good and then you get in there and you box a guy like that, he will fucking expose the shit out of you. He will expose the shit out of you. It's a different animal, man. I mean, who knows, man? Look, one of the things we know about Conor is he has a ridiculous belief in himself and he has unbelievable power. One of the things we know about Floyd is he's 39, I think.
Yeah.
Is that old?
Yeah, that's what I was seeing on here, yeah.
So when a guy turns 39, you never know. I mean, for every guy like Bernard Hopkins, there's a bunch of guys who the wheels just fall off and all of a sudden they can't take a punch anymore and they can't fight anymore. They don't move good anymore. But I can't imagine a world where he's not light years past Conor with boxing skill.
Is there another
I think
fight?
these guys are thinking about money
Oh yeah,
more than like a result.
the money will be giant.
That's what I was
And
gonna say.
they'll probably figure out a way where both of them don't lose or something like that.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to really fight. I can't imagine that either one of them would be willing to negotiate with the other one while thinking that they might get double crossed. You know, like, nah, I don't buy that. Because remember with Victor Ortiz and Mayweather? When Victor Ortiz was doing some dirty shit to Mayweather and Victor Ortiz apologized and Floyd Mayweather just stepped to him and sucker punched him in the face and KO'd him. Do you remember that? Watch this. Here, pull that up because it's kind of hilarious. Because, like, there's no deals being made, and not in this world. This is a world of competitive boxing.
I'm only saying that because
Watch
one's
this.
an MMA guy.
Watch this. Victor Ortiz gets warned because he kept like headbutting and like getting really dirty. And so he goes to touch hands. Look at this. Boom, bang. He goes to touch hands like, yo, I'm sorry. Bing, bang. Ha ha. I mean, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
That's the real world of boxing. Mayweather just knocked him the fuck out. He thought they were going to like touch gloves and be buddies and then get back after it. And Mayweather's like, bitch, pop. He hit him with a left hook that he never saw coming, straight right hand. That's a wrap. And I just think that the skill level in straight boxing that Floyd Mayweather has, it's very difficult to understand while you're just looking at, look, he's touching him here. Look at this. Bing, bitch. He even had a bitch look on his face.
Ortiz is looking at the
Look
ref.
at his face.
Hey,
He's like,
ref.
bitch. He even said bitch. Bang.
Damn.
Yeah. Look at this. Bink.
Chin.
Hey, what is he doing?
Oh.
Boom. That's a wrap. And that was a wrap for Victor Ortiz's career, really, essentially.
Is there another fight to bring Floyd out of retirement that he's on
Sure.
right now?
Pacquiao's the big fight, especially since Pacquiao just beat Timothy Bradley. If Pacquiao decided to, really ramp it up, I think he still can get a lot of people excited about him. He had a shoulder injury. He had his shoulder repaired, but obviously it was great in the Bradley fight. He looked awesome in the Bradley fight. He's a beast. I think that could be a real fight. But I also think that Floyd Mayweather versus Conor would generate insane amounts of money. Insane.
The hype would just be fun to watch. The 24/7 they would make
Yeah.
would be great TV.
Who knows, man? Who fucking knows? I don't think so, though. I don't think he can. I would imagine, unless the UFC is involved.
They'd have to let him out of contract somewhere, right? Or
exactly.
Pay to get him out. Or
And I can't imagine that they would be willing to do that. And I can't imagine that they would let him fight Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, right.
Like Dana and Lorenzo and Frank are serious boxing fanatics. They know a lot about boxing.
Could there be a cross promotion
Oh man,
in some way, like have the fight on a UFC
If everybody
card?
can get a piece.
look, it could happen, but I wouldn't throw a fighter to the lions like that. Like I just don't. Look, I could be wrong. I'm no fucking clairvoyant. I don't really know what's going to happen in a fight. But I think Mayweather is a ghost. I think you go to punch where Mayweather is, and Mayweather's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And he's popping you with jabs and slowly getting you frustrated and setting traps. And the next thing you know, he's uncorking shots on you. Who the fuck knows? But who knows? Maybe Conor McGregor, if he went to straight boxing, would be even more successful than he is as an MMA fighter.
Right.
Because his best knockouts were with punches. I mean, his left hand is a fucking piston. He has a nasty left hand. He fucks a lot of guys up. But is he fucking guys up that are just not at the level of boxing as, say, a Timothy Bradley or Maidana or, Juan Manuel Marquez, the guys who...
He is, though. And they're distracted by training for other types of things.
Yes.
Like
Right.
For the ground game.
Right.
For Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And it's like if Mayweather's just focused on hands.
Yes,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
And he's a master at it.
Yeah.
Like a straight up master. I mean, in an MMA fight, it wouldn't even be close.
Right.
It would not even be close.
Right.
Conor would kick his body apart before Mayweather even got close to him.
Right.
But I think his understanding of the distance, there's no way Mayweather would understand the distance. Conor would hit him with spinning back kicks to the body. Mayweather would crumble. Conor would knee him in the body in the clinch. It would be awful. He would kill him. He would kill him in an MMA fight. He's much bigger, too.
Right.
Like, Conor really struggles to get down to 145. He's a big fuck. You know, so I just think in an MMA fight it would be disastrous for Mayweather. But it could be equally disastrous in a boxing fight for Conor.
The other way, yeah.
The only thing that makes me think that maybe Conor could survive is he's a fucking super dangerous puncher, just like Maidana was, or Maidana is. Even though Maidana is a world class boxer, Maidana is the guy who beat Adrian Broner. Maidana is a serious, vicious power puncher, and he's real aggressive and wild. Makes me think like maybe like if Conor went straight into boxing, maybe he could have been a world class boxer.
Right.
Maybe he could have been, you know, some real Ricky Hatton type challenger. Entirely possible.
Right.
But even Ricky Hatton got fucked up by Mayweather, man. When Ricky Hatton was Ricky Hatton, when he was in his prime.
I don't think Ricky Hatton should have quit after that fight.
Hey, man, he liked to do blow.
Yeah.
He wanted to get fat. He was having a party.
Get fat and do blow.
Well, he did have one comeback fight and just didn't like how he performed. And I think he actually wound up winning, but he decided that it was over, that he had lost it. I think
got it beat out of him.
it could be that, but it also could be, well, Pacquiao really fucked him up. Pacquiao hurt him bad. When Pacquiao knocked him out, he knocked him dead. Mayweather fucked him up, but when Pacquiao fucked him up, it was like, whoa, that was a bad knockout.
Right.
Manny's got those gigantic tree trunk legs, those spring. He's got a calf. His calf muscles are like 4x4 springs. He just he just jumps at you and uncorks left hands on your chin. And when he did that to Ricky Hatton, he just went to sleep.
Yeah, that's like the second like British like hope that happened to. Like they was cleaning up in Europe and then they came out here. Remember Prince Nazim Mohammed?
Hamed, yeah.
And he
Prince
came out
Nassim Hamed got exposed by the fuck is his name? The guy who is in a series of wars with.
It wasn't Pernell Whitaker, was it?
No. It was a Mexican gentleman, Marcos Barrera.
Oh, okay.
Barrera?
Yeah.
Marcos Antonio Barrera? Yeah, that's who it was. And he exposed him. He showed that fundamental boxing at the highest level is going to beat that crazy jumping in, wild shit. Like, that wild shit didn't work on the top level guys. Right. And so he got kind of exposed in that fight. But, you know what, man? Boxing is so specialized. And the guys that are really good, the really, really good guys, they're underrated how good they are. Like, as a person who's watching it from the outside, you don't understand how good a guy like Mayweather is, I think, unless you're there with him while he's doing his stuff. Right. Like, I bet if a guy's boxing him, I bet that's when you get a real understanding of how good he is.
And he's disciplined, too. He's more disciplined than he acts on the outside. Like when I used to hang out with Kevin Hart a little bit, he used to hang out with Mayweather, and so they'd be partying in the middle of the party. Like, I got to go. And it's like 3 in the morning, I got to go do road work. Yeah. And he'd just go run. Yeah. And bring the car and then run.
Runs in jeans.
Yeah.
Just says, just follow me. And he goes running. Yeah. Well, he's in tremendous shape, always. But apparently now he's a little heavy. Who knows, man? I mean, if enough money gets thrown the UFC's direction, the UFC might look at it this way. Here's a pragmatic way of looking at it. We can still make a lot of money with Conor McGregor, right? Still make a lot of money with Conor McGregor in an MMA fight. We can still make a lot of money if Conor rematches Nate Diaz, which I hear they're trying to make happen as well. That's what the rumor's been. But is he going to beat the best guys in the world now? After Nate Diaz boxed him up and choked him out, is that going to happen again? And if that does happen again, how much will that deflate his value on the open market? If you're playing a game of chess, not looking at it in terms of a guy's career as an MMA fighter, but looking at it as a game of financial chess, how do you move your piece? You might say, look, the amount of money that you can make with a Mayweather fight is off the charts. Right? Off the charts. So you're talking about like a 3 million pay-per-view buy or something crazy. So you do that, you move that up, and you take that chance, and he gets boxed up by Mayweather, and maybe he survives. If he survives and loses a fucking decision, and he goes back and he says, all respect to Mayweather, You know, I'm back to MMA. You know, just I didn't understand his hands. Now it's a learning experience. You know, and he has this great press conference. If he could survive,
right.
he's not diminished too much. And Mayweather's not like a murderous puncher. He's not like a Canelo Alvarez or a Gennady Golovkin. Like Golovkin is a bad fight for him. Someone like that's a bad fight for him, a murderous puncher, because most likely they're going to take him out. But Mayweather, it's very possible he's going to get to the decision.
And at 39 is perfect age.
It's good age.
Yeah.
Look, if I was in his corner, I would say, look, this can be done. This can be done.
And it feels like McGregor wants to get paid because he threatened to quit because he wanted to get paid more money.
No,
right?
No.
Why?
He really didn't threaten to quit. What he didn't want to do is he didn't want to do any of the press conferences. So he called the UFC's bluff. He said, you're not going to remove me from the card. I'm fucking Conor McGregor. I call the shots. And the UFC is like, okay, well, we're going to cancel your fight, so take care. And, you know, they had like a long break where they weren't even talking back and forth to each other. And Dana's like, nope, I haven't talked to him. He's not on the fight anymore. He wasn't at the press conference. We're just going to move on with UFC 200. And, you know, UFC 200 is about the sport in their eyes.
It's all about the sport.
It's also... It's an honor to be on that card. It's a historical card, just like UFC 100 was a historical card. UFC 200 is an absolutely historical card, and one guy can't hold it up. It doesn't matter if you're Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey, or it doesn't matter what kind of a superstar you are. You can't hold up the UFC 200 card, and you have to do the press. So that was their position. They took a stand, and so now he's in this position where he's got to figure out what the fuck he's going to do.
He's going to fight Mayweather.
I don't know, he can. I believe he would need the UFC's blessing. Right. I don't see a world. I can't imagine a world in which he doesn't need the UFC's blessing.
What's Rousey's plan? What's she doing now?
You'd have to talk to her.
Haven't heard from her?
I think the type of champion that she was, as good as she was, as much as she dominated, I can't imagine that she's not going to do it again.
Right.
I can't imagine that one fight will set her back that much. But she also has massive amounts of distractions. She has a huge career in movies. She's doing giant movies. She's wanted for commercials and this and that. She's got a book. And, oh, fuck yeah, man. She's a superstar.
Right.
She's a superstar. But does it haunt her that a girl that she beat twice, Misha Tate, has the belt, is the champion right now, and was talking shit about her yesterday?
Hilarious.
Right here.
Oh, shit.
Look, I think Ronda obviously had a bad fight with Holly Holm. Holly Holm obviously had a great fight with Ronda. And I think Holly Holm has a great style for Ronda if Ronda fights that way. But if Ronda doesn't fight that way, if she fights the way that Misha fought, she stays on the outside and she fights a little more strategic and she uses more movement and she incorporates a bunch of different types of takedowns. Ronda's a champion. She's an elite athlete and she's one of the best expressions of judo we've ever seen in all of MMA. Her judo is spectacular. If she focuses on that aspect, on the grappling aspect, the judo aspect, takedowns, more than trying to outstand up Holly Holm, which it looked like she did in the first fight.
Right.
But in her defense, she said she got rocked by a big punch early in the first fight. So it's very difficult to say how much that had an effect on her because she did get cracked by Holly like early in the fight. So she could have been out of it and not able to stick to her game plan, whatever it might have been. It's entirely possible. When you get cracked like that, everything goes out the window. You never know.
Right.
It's the only person knows is the person who got hit. You know, because if we see it like Aldo, when Aldo fought McGregor, he just got knocked out. Like it's obvious. We saw it in front of us. His body stopped working. But Ronda could have got real close to that, and we didn't even see it.
Right.
She could have, bang! She dropped one in on her, and Ronda could have been just out of it. Like drunk, not knowing what she's doing. Like literally looking at life through like a hole in a shoebox. that is entirely possible. So if they fight again and Ronda manages to not get hit like that, she fights a little bit more strategic, I could see Ronda absolutely making a go at the title again. Absolutely. Absolutely being a champion again. She's one of the best in the world, no doubt about it. But it's a matter of what does she want? What does she want to do with her time? Does she want to dedicate herself the way she dedicated herself when she was tearing up the division? It's a very difficult thing to maintain. And especially difficult when you have the massive amount of distractions that she has. Right. So much Hollywood in her life. So much Hollywood.
And money.
So much money.
Which is what you want to take care of your life, and you got that.
I think that's the thing too. I also think she's taken care of, man. I mean, Ronda's got to be worth millions of dollars. Yeah. I mean, if she just lives fairly frugally, and she does, she's good. I mean, she's not buying gold underwear or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? She's pretty set if she wants to just be set and be a normal person. But I gotta imagine that fire probably still burns. I can't imagine it doesn't.
Right.
I would think that the intelligent way to do it, though, would be to have a warm-up fight. That's what I would think. You know, and people would say, oh, she should just go right into the title fight because what if she loses? Boxing, there's a reason why boxing has warm-up fights. They're smart. They've already figured it out. Warm-up fights are good for two things. First of all, the name, warm-up. It really does warm you up. It gets you back to competition. And we saw with John Jones, when John Jones recently fought, when he fought OSP, he was supposed to fight Daniel Cormier, he felt himself, and he said it. He just couldn't pull the trigger. He felt kind of rusty in there. It's because he'd been out for a long time, more than a year.
Right.
So with a guy that's trying to get back at it, you know, I think it was critical for him to have a tough fight against a guy like Ovince St. Preux, who's a world-class, number 6 ranked light heavyweight. Get that under the belt as a warm-up fight.
Right.
Then fight Daniel Cormier, and then we're going to see what's up. And I think for Ronda, it's probably a good idea for her to do that too. Fight like a top 10 contender, a tough girl, like a Jessica I or someone like that. Give that girl a chance. Give Jessica or Raquel Pennington, give her a chance. Give her a chance to prove what she can do, and maybe even upset Ronda. Give Ronda a chance to get her feet wet, get back to competition, but not be fighting for the title. So who knows? Who knows what she's going to decide to do? But she's set. No matter what she wants to do. It's a matter of what she wants to do with her legacy.
Right.
It's not a matter of like a financial decision, I don't think, at this point.
And Conor, so I'm thinking I'm Conor. If I'm Conor, I'm like, I got to work on my ground game.
100%.
Is he doing it?
I'm sure. Yeah, there's pictures of him. He has a brown belt apparently now, and he's training. The real issue is it's a long road to develop those kind of skills at a high level. You have to be, and you might look good with a few moves. Like every blue belt, like some blue belts have like one nasty arm bar. Like there's dudes that do like a certain technique, and they hone that shit down to razor sharpness. But if you can avoid that, how much else does he have?
Right.
So it's like having an argument with someone. If someone doesn't have a good vocabulary and you have an argument with him, they might say one thing, yeah, well, you're fucking stupid. And it might work on some people, but you're like, I'm stupid. What about you, dummy? And then you start talking to that person. You start talking with a lot of different words, having a lot of good points, saying a lot of things that you know that they can't argue against, and then you start stunning them, right? That's what a good argument is with two people. Well, if an MMA fighter only has like one or two moves, you only have a few things, you're not going to win an argument with someone who's verbally skilled.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu is like that in a lot of ways. Like someone can have a fairly good vocabulary and a fairly good understanding of the world. But if you are in some sort of a debate with like Richard Dawkins about science, like you're going to get fucked up. You know, if you debate Christopher Hitchens while he's alive or Sam Harris about religion, you're going to get fucked up. They have more tools, more weapons, more understanding. That's the same way with jiu-jitsu.
It's funny. You said Richard. What's his name? Richard what?
Richard Dawkins.
Like he's on a debate team. He turns to the team. We about to fuck these other scientists up. They have no idea about the realm of vocabulary that's about to rain on their motherfucker domes. And they just pound him.
It wouldn't be scientists though. It'd be like clergymen.
Clergymen.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
they're always debating clergymen and rabbis and all these crazy people
That's hilarious.
believe ancient shit. Listen, man, I gotta get the fuck out of here, Ian Edwards.
Oh,
so
yeah, you gotta do yours.
So we're gonna do some soccer games, man. You're gonna bring me to the world of soccer.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna introduce it to me. Let me know. It's very exciting.
It's funny though. I know what you're gonna do.
What am I gonna do?
You're gonna come. And then you're going to talk shit. You're going to trash the whole thing.
Well, I'll tell you what. You people, I'm telling you right now, you got to stop falling down when people slap you.
No, nobody likes that. Nobody likes that.
They shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it.
It's in the NBA now, too.
Oh,
it's in the NBA now.
I don't want to hear this.
But it's shitty. Like, I've never liked it. But people do it to get the free kick or the penalty or to get the other person sent off. Yeah. It's become a part of the game. It's unfortunate. So let's just get that out the way before you come in, because you're going to see that. But besides that, it's a man's game.
Yeah, I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
When Raquel Pennington choked out Ashley Evans Smith, blood was pouring down her face. She strangled her unconscious with 1 second to go with a bulldog choke in the first round. That's a girl. It's a 135-pound girl. Yeah. And you get smacked running down the field like, oh,
it's bullshit.
They fall, they hold their mouth, they roll around like a baby.
Yeah, and when you watch women's soccer, women don't do that. Women don't do that. Women do not take dives and get smacked.
Someone needs to start a campaign. Maybe we can help, Ian. Maybe your podcast, because you have a soccer. What is your podcast? Tell everybody.
Soccer Comic Rant.
Soccer Comic Rant. Maybe we can help.
Yeah.
Maybe we can help. All right. Go home, you fucks. Or if you are home, go to sleep. Or do it. Don't listen to me. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Much love, everybody. Thank you. Ian Edwards Comic on Twitter. Ian Edwards Comic on Instagram. What else?
And IanEdwardsComedian.com.
Boom. See ya.